stories unfold, and the chat's got soul. From the gavel to the gas, we're watching it all. Covering the courtroom, big case or small. Laugh when we can, cry when we must, but it's all real talk, you can count on us. We're not the pros, just fans who care, with popcorn in hand and a comfy chair. And every twist, we're right there, together like we're all in the witness chair. This is the Broken Baker, where the trials come alive, where the chat is wild and the vibes survive. We're watching the worst of what people do, but we keep it light, yeah, that's our truth. It's the only place for crime, and it feels just right. We bring the justice talk into your night, so hit that stream, don't miss the call. At the Broken Baker, we cover it all. Oh yeah. We're just laymen with the view, but we ask the things the world wants to. Digging through the facts, side by side. Even when it's dark, we bring the light. No clickbait, no fake feels, just truth and the highs and the reels. With the chat that roasts and rides, we're just here for the case and the vibes. This is the Broken Baker, where the stories unfold, with a smile in the heart, even when it's cold. Yeah, we cover the bad with a wink and a grin, where the real talk starts, come on, jump in. It's the only place to be, can't you see? For trials and truth, it's BBTV. The Broken Baker, where the trials come alive. Yeah, we'll be here, trial and the trial.
Yeah. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Wherever you are, whoever you are, what, if any, you might day. Jamie, why do I say day?
Hi,
because
everybody.
Today is a half day.
It is a half day.
And remember, tonight, my time, after, also night, your time, because it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing a guest spot on a smaller, newer channel. Jamie, you take this.
Baker still needs some sleep, guys. It's going to be okay. Hope everybody's having a good day. We only have a half day of this nonsense. Hopefully it's a good one.
You need to reconnect your earbuds. They are beep, 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 beep every time you talk.
Oh, I was clicking on my iPad. Maybe that was the problem. Can you hear it now?
Yeah, but it's just every time you try to say something, it's a boop. So that's how it is.
My bad.
No, you need to reconnect.
Okay.
See you later. I might be having a stroke. I've been in court today, and so I'm running a little behind. Well, I'm running a bit behind, but I'm a little behind the time as well. I like to think of half days as claw days in honor of Bev. Yeah. And to the people who took pictures of Bev going to visit, I think she has a son in New Orleans. Don't do that. Don't be like the other side. Just let her be in the airport, visiting her family. Have some peace and quiet. Yeah. But as you know, they like big butts, and I cannot lie. Other fellas said me why if itty bitty thing with a big get sprung. Everyone say bye to Anime, who used to be one of my two Rumble mods. I had to get him on because Iris forgot that she was a Rumble mod. But that's body shaming. I get enough of that on Twitter. Nah, but don't walk up to her and try to engage her. She's a dum-dum anyway. Well, yeah, today is sponsored by FD Food Fairy. And my hair needs a haircut. Did you know that Valle's lawyer was on the defense team for Fotis Doulas? If I knew who Fotis Doulas was, I might have known that. I don't know. Carol Sue, I have this problem that I get really... I'm kind of like Jen McCabe when they have her out training where they put the blinders on her and the saddle. I don't get the saddle on, I just get the blinders. When I'm covering trials, I'm just looking at that. And I don't go look on old cases and sometimes Jamie will say something. I'm like, what? So I don't know who any of that is.
Is this better?
I hope so.
Okay.
The man bun candle guy.
Remember?
Oh, the guy who got again, Jamie, that was an injustice. That lady clearly was attacking him.
Yeah,
I can't remember the case.
Yankee Candle.
You have to tell me some weird fact from the case, because how many cases have we covered now? 30 or something? 40 maybe?
About
I can remember
542.
the weird Yankee candle and how she deserved it, because she didn't need to throw, and he was only banging the people he was tattooing. Come on now. She yeah. What was the frolicking from that case as well?
No, frolicking was that cult, remember?
No, it wasn't a cult. He tried to make a cult. And his girlfriend was really interested, and then he went back home and harassed everyone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did want to have an open relationship or whatever. Yeah.
Traconi's trial. Yeah, I remember the name now when you're saying it, but I can't remember these cases. Hey, Aaron.
We never watched
the prawn-scented Gwyneth Paltrow candles. Yeah. He drank his pee because it's really good for you. And then you talk to your cult full of women in the morning for an hour about female problems. And then when they have had their yappity yap time, you send them to the beach frolicking while you do tax evasion schemes. Because women can't do tax evasion. They need to frolic and yap about their female problems. That's how you run a cult.
Yeah. We have to yap.
It's that was a weird case. We get some weird people in here. It's almost like crazy people go to court a lot.
You would think.
What would you say is the craziest person we have covered?
I mean, I have to agree with Bradley Young.
Yeah, I think Bradley Young is the most mentally insane person we have. You know what to do, money.
I thought it was a conspiracy that the cops were, remember how he thought they were just trying to get him for doing what he did? Like, come on now.
Yeah. No, the expert covered Show Business.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We were doing Bradley Young when Show Business was going on.
Is it the old article about how he got fired or got reprimanded because he lied about his view numbers and he used racial slurs gay slurs about a person, and then that's I read it. It's been coming out a lot during the Karen Reed case.
Mm-hmm.
Suitcase Sarah. Bradley Young was more insane than Suitcase Sarah. Sarah Boone was just a narcissist. She was a massive narcissist. Bradley Young, because he had that where he talked about mother used to say, "Where are the injuries, my son?" And he was crazy.
I'm going to.
How can you tell someone didn't take my shoes and leave those footprints on the front door? Yeah, why couldn't someone just have knocked you unconscious and use you as a battering ram? He had some really crazy, and he sexually, I believe sexually, he needed to hear what he did to that woman so he could use it back in his cell at night.
Yeah.
The way he tormented the witnesses. Her business was crazy, but I didn't cover that. That the expert did that with a lady who actually knew her business when she was a kid, whose son went to school with her business. How doth thou take it the remote from thy sister? It was thy sister who tooketh away the remoteth when he was watching. Was it Scooby-Doo he watched?
I don't even know. I feel like it was something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was obsessed with butthole sizes. No, Holly Mac, I have my eyes everywhere, but not all of it I cover. Did you see Kathy Daffy tell us all to be better humans while she's hanging out with people who use the racist dog whistling?
Yeah. I mean,
Kathy
she's a
Daffy,
saint.
she's such a good person.
Yeah.
You don't know that case? It's Bradley Yawn from
Illinois.
Vermont v. Bradley Yawn.
Illinois. It was Illinois.
He has since transferred. He did it in Vermont and then moved to
Okay.
Illinois. He carjacked a 77-year-old lady with his female friend, who I think she had taken a plea deal. Then he went back to her house, stole a lot of very specific memorabilia. Rosemary.
Star Trek stuff. It was a rosemary and a Star Trek.
Rosary. What is it you call it?
What is it? A rosary? Like a
Rosary,
Catholic rosary thing?
yeah. He stole one of those, and he stole some brochures from Star Trek because her and her husband were Trekkies, and then he proceeded to many times grape her in horrendous way and throw her down some stairs to try and get into a safe. He was found with the rosary on him, but the twist was he tried to switch the guilt because near the place he was found, they had found a dead body in a car. Had nothing to do with this case, but he kept talking about it. It was weird, and he tormented the husband and the daughter on the stand because I believe he still sexually got pleasure from talking about how he mishandled this woman. She didn't die from the attack, but she died like 3 months later, just before Christmas. It was a really sad story, but it was crazy.
Well, and he was claiming that the police were framing him. So
yeah, police was framing him, and it was his girlfriend who forced him to do it.
Or not the police too. He was like implying that the husband was framing him, and I was like, oh Lord.
Yeah, because he didn't call fast enough, and they said that's not how 911 works. Mm-hmm. Who was with him when he called 911? It doesn't matter. She was raped. Your DNA was found inside her.
The court did receive word from the clerk that a note had been passed in accordance with procedure by one of our jurors. That note does indicate that the juror would like to speak to the court regarding a potential issue. So at this point in time, I am going to be bringing that juror in. I want to make very clear the extent of the court's media order, which is that there shall be no audio recording or visual recording or live streaming of any kind.
So a juror is coming in to talk to the court because of some procedure. We can't listen to that. Interesting. That's hey Kelly DD. Who? What? I missed something. Fedorowski's talking about something. Oh, yeah, talking about the female scent goop products. Wasn't there a 24-karat number 2 plug? She sold.
What?
Didn't she sell the number 2 plug? I believe she had a 24 karat something pleasuring device.
Who?
Goop. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, that lady. Jesus. Yeah. Who knows? She got something like that. It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
Overpriced nonsense.
Letitia Stout did. I watched that on Dave. That's actually when I started
Yeah.
my channel speaking English, because I was in chat talking a lot doing the Letitia Stout case, and he invited me on to talk about the Danish justice system, and that's when I started speaking. Well, some people call it English, other people say mouth, not understandable. But that's the case that got me started. That was the Letitia Stout, because I was sitting in there and saying, "Who's that lady who laughs all the time? Doesn't she understand that the Petco mafia is really, really bad?" And you just heard all the time, "I take my dogs to Petco all the time. I also bought a
Oh.
bike from a random guy down the street." It's and then I had to say something.
No, what was it? She like let the guy like pick her kid up and like take
Yeah,
him somewhere. It's like
her
what?
kid. Well, I think one of them was she was buying a bike from a guy, and then the kid fell, and then she
Oh,
let him drive him to the hospital and never saw him
that's
again.
what it was. Yeah,
Then she
that's what it was.
Then she had the pregnant lady at Petco who got into the car but had a fake belly of cash,
Mhm.
who then took her kid. And then she took the kid to Florida to bury the same place where they buried Tupac, so he could be resurrected like Tupac. And don't forget the Alaskan vampires. That's why she couldn't stay in Alaska.
Mhm. Yeah, that one was crazy, but Baker didn't do that trial.
No, that was
Dave.
Dave, and that's what I was watching. That's and I think, yeah, that's the case where Dave said, "Hey, you want to come on and talk about the Danish justice system?"
Mhm.
And then, like, after that case, the next one was the Texas border guard. Then we did Bradley Young. Then we did Sergeant Dom.
Oh,
And
that
then
one was fun too, but it
yeah,
wasn't
Sergeant Dom
crazy.
was
It was
fun.
just
Yeah,
it was just
that
entertaining.
black police officer reading, you could just see he was thinking, "What the hell is white people doing?" Yeah, I just got raped for my birthday by my husband. He forced me to do mouth hugs in the jacuzzi, and I passed away. So he resuscitated me. "Hey, could you dominate me if we get into a relationship?" What?
I know. She's talking about all these gang, grapes and all these times he's like forced her to do fellatio while underwater and almost passed away. And then she's like, "Yeah, do you want to be a dominant? You want to have this dominant relationship? That'd be great."
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Letitia Stout, fakepolygraph.com.
Oh God, that was funny. Forgot about that.
Baker, your
I'm
mug
looking
has
that
no
right now.
suasion. I know where you can get a mug with 100% suasion. Oh, see, Anime knows how to sell my merch.
Look at that. How sweet.
Dear Google, what should I do if I hate my stepson? Yeah.
What?
I-
Yeah.
That's
Oh my God, that's funny.
was such a crazy case.
She was something.
No, she was a Russian-trained Spanish assassin.
Oh yeah, one of her personalities or whatever.
Maria.
Multiple personalities.
Maria was a
Yeah.
Russian-trained Spanish assassin.
Mhm. Good old Maria.
That was those are the cases you sometimes. It's horrible to watch cases sometime, and
My name is Witness Cox. The clerk is going to put you on that oath at this time for purposes of the canvas. So while you were out,
what fairness.
while you were out, we did discuss a canvas that's going to be done with the
Jamie, I can't do 2 hours of another kid not remembering anything.
Witness under oath at this point in time for purposes of the canvas, and then we will put the a witness under oath in the presence of the jury for purposes of the jury's determination of credibility in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand.
Are
Do
they-
solemnly swear or solemnly
What, during
sincerely
this
affirm,
kid?
as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury. If so, please say I do.
You can't have found me during the Letitia because I wasn't streaming back then. Well, I was streaming Danish politics, but I was in Dave's chat. Dave was the one covering it.
Thank you. Please state your full name, spelling your last name, and address for the records.
Well, this is Jack Snyder.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Snyder. You may be seated.
Who's that?
Is he the driver of the car?
Oh,
There's Tyler and Jack. And I
Ask the
think
prosecution
one
to
of them
please
is
provide on the record.
Jamie was on
outline
screen back then.
the agreement that this witness is
Yeah.
making.
If I may approach the witnesses briefly.
Has this been marked as identification? Okay.
Yeah, Johnny was marked as exhibit 94 for identification.
I'm trying to put the enhance on.
94.
And just briefly, Jack, I want to ask you questions
Glad
about
you
your
stuck
understanding of
around,
this agreement in
Lolita.
the state of Connecticut. Is it your understanding that in consideration for your testimony today and the cooperation during the investigative phase of this case, as well as any testimony today or any investigative grand jury or any other hearing, that the state of Connecticut agrees not to prosecute you for the incidences or any crime or crimes that occurred on May 14th of 2022? And is it also your understanding that you have to be truthful in your testimony? And if you are not truthful,
Oh yeah, they're probably going to end with this kid. He got a plea deal to say whatever they want.
Oh God.
Hopefully, someone who can remember something, not when the defense asks.
that you could be prosecuted for any said crimes that occurred on that day.
Food Fairy, it's every kid's hair. It looks like they have been. Their hairdresser has a lawnmower instead of scissors.
Is it also your understanding, based on this agreement, that if you commit any further crimes during the pendency of this case, pursuant to this agreement, that you could also be prosecuted for the crimes that may have occurred on May 14th of 2022?
Oh, that's sweet, Danny.
It is your understanding that the agreement extends until the final conclusion of this case, whether that be by plea, trial by jury, or a retrial on direct appeal. Is that your?
I think you have to refresh that because I can hear. I think everyone can hear, but it's just low because he's not talking into the mic. I have the booster on 6 times boost because the lawyer is talking into the mic, so I would blow your ear holes if I put it up to 10.
Understanding? And if you break this agreement
That was
in any
the
way,
border
that
guard.
any statements that you gave before during your testimony, either today or at any other proceeding, could be used against you at a subsequent trial.
Want to hit the maximum exposure?
Oh, that's right. And with regards to the 4 individuals that were assaulted on May 14th of 2022, is it your understanding that you could have been exposed as a co-conspirator to an excess of 60 years in prison?
Thank you.
Like,
Right,
what
Teresa,
happened now? I want to
Do
know.
you agree that the canvas and the outline adequately and clearly set forth the terms of the agreement that's been
Well,
marked
you're going to hear it.
as
He's going to testify.
an exhibit for identification purposes, and that would be an
I know, but like,
For the most part, Your Honor, I would just ask that a question be asked as far as he's been questioned about being truthful and who it is that determines the truthfulness. May I inquire?
You can. Yes.
As far as your expectation, your understanding is that in consideration for your testimony, you won't be prosecuted, correct?
Correct.
And it's your understanding that you'll be afforded full immunity from any crimes that could possibly be charged, correct?
From May 14, 2022, correct?
And that you have to testify truthfully, right?
Correct.
And what is your understanding about who is going to determine whether or not you testify truthfully?
Just about what I experienced on May 14, 2022.
I understand, sir. Who is it that determines whether or not you testified truthfully?
I guess myself.
Well, the agreement's between you and the state, correct?
Correct.
Between you and the prosecutor,
Exactly.
correct?
He doesn't understand the
You
question.
would agree that the prosecutor is the person who can determine whether or not to charge you under this, correct?
For those who might be sneaking in the back door, this kid is the driver of the Honda Pilot. apparently he has struck some kind of immunity deal with the state in exchange for his testimony. The defense lawyer is now asking him, well, you said you have to be truthful when you testify. Who determines that? Of course, it's the state who determines who's truthful, because if you say something they don't like, you're not truthful. We saw that in Karen Reed. Perjury only works if you're saying something the state don't like. So as long as he just says all the right thing that the state wants him to say, he is as truthful as a newborn baby. I don't know. I don't know if babies are specifically truthful, but
Kids are truthful. That's
Would
all
you
I
agree
say.
then that it's the prosecutor who determines whether or not you testify truthfully?
I guess so.
That's your understanding, right? It's not whether I think you testified truthfully or whether anybody else thinks you testified truthfully, right? You didn't make this between.
is it normal to give an immunity deal? Depends on the case. We have seen it in a few cases where someone who might be co-indicted for smaller parts of it, but again, in a murder case, you part of it is the same as doing it. So they are probably going to this kid saying, hey, we really need someone to tell us that this kid had the knife. Do you know you can go 60 years to prison? I remember clearly that he had the knife. Yes. Haven't I told everyone so far? I remember it clear as day. And that is what happens in America, where you can strike deals. So
And I hate it.
I feel a certain way about testimony that will come out of the mouth of someone who has taken a deal like this. But I'm sure there are checks and balances, making sure that the state haven't encouraged him to have a certain position. He is truthful. I couldn't believe anything else, because he's going to swear with his hand on the Bible that I would never, ever lie.
Yeah. And headphones, just to clarify, when I meant Baker said babies and I said kids, I should have meant like young kids, because like my nephews are like 5, 6. They don't hold back. They tell the truth, and so that's what I meant. Not kids like these kids.
Do I need to get Mo on here and talk about what the youngest, most feral? I think she would disagree.
Well, I mean, I guess it's just because I feel like kids just blurt out the most truthful things to you, and you're like, oh, what? Maybe about you. I don't know. Maybe that's why I like always experience. It makes me laugh. What's wrong with that on your face? And you're like, oh, geez.
Okay, so that's your understanding, is that you have to testify truthfully, prosecutor makes that determination, and if so, you're going to have full immunity. Is that fair to say?
This was my truth. This is what I experienced on May 14th. And what I'm going to say is what happened.
Okay. You understand that this agreement is between you and the state's attorney, right? And that your end of the bargain is that you have to testify truthfully, right?
No.
And that the prosecutor determines whether or not he thinks you broke this agreement by testifying truthfully or not truthfully, right?
Yes.
So it's the prosecutor who determines whether or not you've testified truthfully. Is that fair to say? That's what you understand. Okay, nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any follow-up?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, so at this point in time,
Empire, apparently that's frowned upon, but thank you so much. And don't knock at the back door without permission.
am going to just make a little more inquiry of Attorney Smith. Once again, is there any vagueness around this agreement that you have any concerns with at this point in time?
Not at this point in time, Your Honor, with the understanding that I'm able to cross-examine him about it when he's on cross-examination.
Oh, certainly both parties are entitled to.
If I may approach the witness, Your Honor, there's the ID.
All right, so in keeping with formality and format, just with respect to the jury and what the jury is seeing, I am going to ask the witness to leave the witness box. I'll ask the witness to be formally called for purposes of providing testimony, and we will.
No, it's a voir dire just to get it out, because he's gonna cross-examine him on these parts in front of the jury.
Put the witness under oath. This is for the purposes of the canvas. So now I'm just going to ask that you exit the courtroom, and then you'll be escorted back in to provide testimony. Thank you very much.
Well, I've been told you can't poke your finger at the back door without permission either.
All right, thank you. At this time, I would ask the court to go on.
Come on.
If I were to lie about what happened or
Consequence.
the more criminal happened or 22.
In relation.
It's
Can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen jury how old you are?
19 years old.
And do you go to school? Where do you go to school?
University of Tampa.
And what are you studying?
Finance.
And do you know why you're here today? And why are you here today?
University of Tampa. Go Buccaneers. Rechecks bedsheet, morning to ceiling fan, and tightens special neck knot. Does anyone know a good eFax service? You can save a life for free. What's an eFax?
Electronic vaccine, I guess.
Brandon, the rest of the world left faxes in the 90s.
Well, now they're only electronically faxed. I don't think anybody actually faxes through a fax machine anymore, do they?
Jamie, it's called an email.
No, we get electronic faxes at my job.
Jamie, we left fax behind in the 90s. Weirdos.
You weirdos.
Thank you, Caddy Michael, for 2 months.
Testify.
In relation to what?
The events that occurred on May 14th, 2022.
And have we met before in connection to this case?
Yeah.
And can you tell me a little bit about the circumstances surrounding how we initially met?
So I hired my attorney, and he went to the state of Connecticut, and they formed an agreement that I would provide full detail and truth about what happened on that day.
In consideration for your, what's your understanding with that agreement?
That I would not be prosecuted.
And is there any consequences if, based on what you would tell us today?
If I were to lie about what happened or get any more criminal charges, that I would be prosecuted or liable for prosecution.
May I approach the witness? Showing you what's marked as State's Exhibit 94 for identification purposes. Do you recognize State's 94?
I do.
And what is State's 94?
Our agreement.
And is this the agreement that you executed in the presence of your lawyer and your father on November 2nd, 2022?
It is.
Does this agreement encompass the agreement between you and the state of Connecticut concerning your testimony concerning?
It's just another way to bill you.
It is.
I would offer this as full exhibit.
No objection, Your Honor.
Court will accept into evidence of the full exhibit states 94.
Now, Jack, I want to ask you, are you familiar with an individual by the name of Tyler De Silva?
I am.
How are you familiar with him?
In front of
And how did you become friends?
St. Joseph football.
And back on May 14th of 2022, how old were you?
16 years old.
And where were you in school?
I was a junior
Where?
at St. Joseph High School.
And did you go to school with Tyler De Silva?
I did.
And what sports were you playing then?
Football.
Are you familiar with an individual by the name of Raul Valle?
I am.
Does he have a nickname?
Lito.
And how are you familiar with him?
He was also a friend of mine.
And did he go to school with you at St. Joseph's High School?
Yep.
Is he present in the courtroom today?
He was
What is he wearing?
a black suit.
And can you please point him out for the record? Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant in this case.
Court will allow the record to reflect that the witnesses identified Mr. Valle. Thank you.
Now, I want to bring it back to the events of May 14th of 2022. There was a party at Lazy Brook that night. Prior to the party at Lazy Brook, tell us what you were doing.
I was driving to go pick up Lito
And what were you driving?
on the pilot.
They need to fix the input from the victims, not the victims, the witnesses' mic. It sounds like the cable is not put in correctly because it keeps switching audio channels. I have this boosted as much as I can, I think. The lawyer is blowing my ear holes, and I can't hear 2 words the kid is saying. Maybe I should see if closed caption can pick it up.
I'm just staying muted because I can barely hear it either, and I'm sure
Yeah.
anybody else can't.
And you said you were going to is this State's Exhibit 30. Is that a picture? What's that a picture of?
On the pilot.
Is that the car you were driving on May 14th of 2022? And you say you were going to pick up the defendant. Where were you going to pick him up?
His house.
Where's his house? And what time of day would you say you were going to pick him up?
Late at night, probably around 9 p.m., 10 p.m.
It was dark already? And when you got to his house, where did you go after that?
I went to go pick up Tyler Silva.
And where does Tyler live?
in Milford, Connecticut as well.
When you picked Tyler up, was there any alcohol in the car?
At that time it wasn't until I got in the car.
Wasn't until who got in the car? So Tyler brought alcohol in the car? What kind of things did he bring in the car?
I believe 2 bottles of vodka.
And when you left Tyler's house, where did you go?
I think we went straight to the party.
The party at Lazy-Brook? Do you know whether or not you were invited to that party, you and your friends? And when you got there, around what time of night would you say you got there?
10 p.m., maybe a little bit later.
And when you got there, how many people would you say were at the party?
Probably 40 people, maybe.
And what kinds of things were going on at this party?
Just drinking and alcohol and stuff like that.
So when you say drinking alcohol? Was alcohol being provided at the house, or was it bring your own alcohol?
Bring your own alcohol.
And when
2 bottles of vodka. These kids knew how to party.
you got to the party, were you drinking?
I was.
Were you drinking prior to getting to the party?
I was.
And when you got to the party,
007 Texas. That's sadly what we see. The first one to speak is the first one to walk. And that's what happens. If you want to see it in a horrible, horrible case, Adam Montgomery was found guilty of unaliving his 5-year-old daughter only on the basis of his ex-wife Kayla's word, because she claimed she witnessed all of it. And ain't no way I will ever believe what she claimed happened. I still think that poor kid overdosed in the car, and this chick lied so she could keep up her life on the streets.
how long were you withdrawn? Did there come a point in time where you were under the impression that you guys had to leave?
We were.
And when you were being told to leave, did you encounter 2 individuals that you were not familiar with at that party?
I was.
And can you tell us a little bit about how that happened?
So we were under the impression that we'd be able to stay at the party if we removed people who were also uninvited. So when these 2 individuals.
No, I don't think so, because you don't have a clear picture of anything. It's potentially a self-defense case. This kid made a deal with the prosecutor. He's gonna send him upriver. My bet, I normally start every case that people are 75% chance of being found guilty by a jury, just because that's juries. With this kid who was with him, the other kid who were in the fight, you will see that he is going to be found guilty. I'm 100% sure that it's really hard, especially when young kids pass away. But I think this testimony will crush him unless they have a really good rebuttal to it.
Yeah, with yesterday, 2 of his friends claimed he was looking for a knife, asking for a knife. So I think that's going to sell him down the river too.
Yeah, and if it's right or not, I don't know, but I just know that we have watched so many jury trials where you sit and think, what the hell?
I didn't know who they were, and we were told to ask them to leave. So we went up to them and we just told them they weren't welcome there, and they needed to leave.
When you were at the party at Lazy-Brook, between the time you got there and the time those people came, how long a period of time was that?
Maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
And when you got there, do you recall what you were wearing that night?
I believe a red sweatshirt.
Do you recall what the defendant was wearing that night?
Yeah, I know she got $2.3 million. How it didn't go into a trust for the siblings, I don't understand. Especially because what did that heifer do? And sorry, I hate that woman after seeing her sit and cry. She didn't look for her girl in 2 years and she couldn't keep clean. She celebrated by smoking a big old blunt. But it's not illegal. If you're a drug addict, it's no matter what substance you use, you're still an addict.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a jersey.
Show your state's exhibit 53. Can you identify the people in states 53?
Yeah.
And who's the person on the left in the red sweatshirt?
That's me.
Who's the person on the right?
That's Lito.
And is this what he was wearing on May 14th of 2022?
It is.
I noticed he's wearing a helmet and a neck pillow. Did he come to Lazy-Brook like that?
Yeah.
Can you tell us the circumstances surrounding how that he came to be wearing those items?
I think he just found them maybe in the mudroom or in the garage or something.
And just put them on? Did he put them on almost immediately when he got there?
I wouldn't say so. Maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes after we got there.
So shortly before the two individuals that were also not invited, at least that you're aware of, arrived at the house?
That's correct.
So when you encountered these individuals, tell us about what happened during your interaction. Well, let me withdraw. Did you have an interaction with these two individuals when they came? Tell us about that.
So one of them was holding a case of beer, and we said that he'd be able to stay if we took his beer or he gave us his beer, and he didn't want to give us his beer. So the conversation started to get a little bit more aggressive, and we moved from the garage to the driveway, and that's when I took his beer from him.
Okay. You took his beer from him? And when you took his beer from him, did the, not what was said, but was there another more interaction between you and the individual you took the beer from? And what was that like?
I think he squared up with me initially, and then I squared up with him.
So you were going to fight for the beer? Is that good? Right. And do you recall how the fight started?
I do.
And how did the fight start?
After we squared up with each other, Lito came around and hit him in the back of the head, and then he lunged forward at me.
And how long did the fight last for?
30 seconds.
And you recall when he lunged at you, did you recall what happened after he lunged at you?
I fell to the floor.
And when you fell to the floor, do you recall if anybody else jumped in on the fight at that point in time?
I think Tyler and Lito were helping me out while I was on the floor. That's about it.
And how long did the fight last for?
30 seconds.
Jack, have you seen a video of this fight before? So Jack, is there a pointer up there? You have your monitor in front of you. I'm going to ask you if you can identify this person in the red. Do you know who that is?
That's me.
The person in the green that appears that you were fighting, who's that?
That's the Shelton person that I was fighting.
Is that the kid you took the beer from?
Yes.
The kid here with the dark pants, the light blue shirt, do you know who that is? Can you rewind it if you can? Can you rewind it a little bit?
I believe that's Lito.
That's Lito behind the kid from Shelton.
It is.
Can you go a little forward now, please? Keep going. Okay. This person right here with what appears to be a light blue jersey and jeans, who's that?
That's Tyler.
Do you recall the fight happening that way?
Yeah.
Now, the fight lasted about 30 seconds. You said after the fight broke up, can you tell us what happened after that?
We all got up, and I think Shelton kids me down the driveway, and I caught a ride. And everyone from the party started dispersing outside, and the mother of the house kind of shut the party down at that point.
And when the mother shut the party down, where did you, what, if anything, were you guys planning to do at that point?
At that point, just go home. I'm supposed to go maybe until we got added to the group chat.
You were added to a group chat? Do you know who added you?
I don't know who added me.
What was the name of the group chat? Do you recall?
Something along the lines of the basketball team.
And when you got added to this group chat, did you know why you got added to the group chat?
After looking at the text, I did.
And why do you believe you were added to the group chat?
Because kids who were at that party were upset at what happened and wanted to meet somewhere to fight us.
So did you engage anybody in that group chat?
I might have sent a couple texts back
Such as what?
along the lines of that we were going to fight them or they wanted to fight us, so I was going to come or something along the lines of that.
So you were willing to go meet them to fight? And at some point in time after the fight, did you get in your car?
Yeah.
And how long between the time the fight ended and the time you got in your car, getting ready to leave? How long was that?
Maybe 5 minutes.
And did anybody else get in the car with you?
They did.
Who else got in the car with you?
It was Dimitri, Keenan, Will, Tyler, Lito, Mackenzie, and myself.
So you said Dimitri and Keenan. Who's Dimitri and Keenan?
Friends of ours.
Did you go to school with them? And that would be Dimitrios Arfanis
They were
and Keenan Frasick. You said Will. Who's Will?
Wilson Gold.
And did you go to school with him at St. Joe's? And you said Mackenzie. Who's Mackenzie?
Mackenzie Traficante.
And did you go to school with her at St. Joe's? And what was the significance of Mackenzie Traficante at that moment in time?
She was dating Lito.
So it was 7 of you in the car.
It was.
Who drove the car? You recall who was in the front seat when you left?
Tyler.
And you recall who was in your back seat?
Everyone else.
You don't recall where everybody was sitting at any particular time? When you left Lazy Brook, where did you guys head to?
So in the group chat, I think they were initially planning on meeting us at Trumbull High School. That was what I was under the impression of. So we went to Trumbull High and to see a couple people there.
And when you got to Trumbull High School, what did you guys do when you got there?
We pulled in the parking lot and there was a black BMW. Who apparently was one of, I believe, Keenan's friends or someone in the car knew them. 2 kids, but they weren't who we were looking for. So we kind of just stayed in the parking lot for about 10 minutes or so.
And when you were in the parking lot for 10 minutes, did you all get out of the car?
I don't believe so.
No one got out of the car, maybe to go relieve themselves or walk someplace else, go talk to those kids in the BMW?
We were conversing through the windows on our cars.
And what kinds of things were you conversing about?
I think we were asking them to come along with us to go fight.
Okay, so that you made them aware of a potential fight that was going to happen? And were you having a conversation with the defendant when you were at Trumbull High School about what had occurred at Lazy Brook or this potential fight?
I think it was in conversation.
And what kinds of things were you guys talking about?
So we were going to go meet these kids and fight them.
And fight them? The intent was to fight them?
Yeah.
Now, you said you were there for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes, did you become aware that it was time to leave Trumbull High School? How did you become aware of that?
The group chat somebody sent us an address and told us to go over to that house, and that's where they'd be.
And did you in fact drive over to that house? You in the front seat driving, and who was in the front passenger seat?
Tyler, so
And when you got over there, do you recall what the house looked like when you got there?
I just knew there was a driveway on the right and a front lawn. Couple of places.
State's Exhibit 49. Does State's Exhibit 49 does it look familiar to you?
It does.
Is that the house that you went to,
It is.
14th of 2022?
Yes.
And do you recall, you're from Norwalk?
Yeah.
Do you recall your path of travel when you got to that house that night?
Yeah, it was from Adams.
It was from Adams? May approach that. Show you State's Exhibit 1. Now, when you say that it was from Adams, you're talking about this road here to the right, State's Exhibit 1? So you came in that way? And when you came in that way, what did you do? Did you drive by the house?
We parked there at the end of the street.
And when you say you parked at the end of the street, can you tell from State's Exhibit 49 where exactly you parked?
Yeah, right on the right to the end.
So right, if I put my finger, let me know if I'm in the right area, right around here?
Right there, yeah.
Okay, so if the record can reflect in State's 49, I'm at the bottom portion of the picture, just to the left of the trees that are on the property across the street from 42 Laurel.
This is the what? 10th different spot that car had been parked.
Mhm.
I don't want to do this anymore, Jamie, because none of these stories makes any sense.
Yeah.
The first kid had it here, then here, then here, then here, on the grass over here, up on the roof. Jeepers.
Land near the intersection of Adams and Laurel.
Part of the record to reflect that. Thank you.
And when you got there, did you see anybody outside of the property at that point in time? And when you got there, did you or anybody from your group indicate to anybody in the group chat that you guys were at the house?
We did.
And when that happened, what occurred when that happened?
People started flowing out from the backyard of the house. We saw them coming in the driveway. And they just head after head.
And when you say coming back from the back of the house, do you know exactly what portion of the house they came from?
Yeah.
When they came down the driveway? And when they came down the driveway, did they approach your car? And when they approached your car, what was the lighting like out that night?
Dark.
It was dark, but could you see in front of you?
I couldn't tell faces, but I could see the outlines of people.
Could you see, was there light?
That's what a good defense lawyer would do. This one is going to ask 45,000 questions about what hand did you have on the steering wheel? My left hand. So you had your right hand on your steering wheel. No, the left hand. Where was the steering wheel positioned in the car? Normally, off to the side, in the middle, to the left. I don't in front of me. So when you had your right hand on the steering wheel, I didn't say that. You just testified you did that. And yeah, sadly. Jamie, do you want to go to Rocket Mortgage Classic?
What?
Yes. Do you want to go to Rocket Mortgage Classic?
What is that?
I don't know. Dave is asking.
I have no idea what that even is.
He'll be at your house in a half an hour. Get ready.
No.
From the house that was shining? Your headlights were on at some point, providing some light? When the individuals, did they approach your car? When they approached your car, how close did they get to your car?
They didn't touch my car.
And were you familiar with anybody that approached your car at that moment in time? And did you have a conversation? Did you or anybody in the car have a conversation with
It's a golf tournament in Detroit, Michigan.
No, I'm good.
She's good.
anybody that approached your car that night?
Good.
What was the conversation initially like?
Very aggressive. Didn't expect to see so many people there, so we were kind of partying on our backs and they surrounded the car. The windows were cracked, so we could talk to them through the car. And they were screaming, cursing, throwing stuff at the car, kicking the car, stuff like that.
They were- What were they doing? Spitting at the car? Touching the car?
Yeah.
Were you guys saying anything back to them?
I don't remember the conversation, but we were both going back and forth, kind of.
So were you arguing with them also?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And how long would you say that occurred for?
30, 40 seconds. Sure.
At some point in time after 30, 40 seconds, what did you do?
I kind of hit my car a little bit to clear the way, and then I drove off.
And when you drove off, where did you drive to?
I drove down the street about 5 houses down and stopped the car.
And when you stopped the car, what happened?
I let people out of the car.
Do you recall who got out of the car?
There was people in the back who wanted to get a ride home
And why? Do you know why they wanted to ride home?
because they didn't want to be involved in what just occurred back at the house.
And at some point in time down the road, and when you say down the road, are you talking, if you're looking at state,
That part I don't get. They were at a party, got added to a group chat. They got in the car to go fight. But then 5 of the 7 kids in the car didn't want to get in a fight. So didn't they know they were going to go fight?
That one kid that testified yesterday claimed he didn't know that's what they were going to do.
Yeah,
Because-
but this kid said they were arguing in the group chat, and then they got in the car to go fight, and they
I don't
talked to
think
the
everyone was in the group chat.
No, but he said they got in the car. Jamie, I know it's a long time since you've been a little boy, but when men get into that mode, we're gonna say, "Hey, we're gonna f them up, man. These prep school kids, just wait. Hey, you with me? We're gonna go beat up those asses. Hey, what can they do? Rich kids, they have soft wrists and they can't do anything without daddy's money. You want to go?" And then you pile into a car and you drive over, and then you get your ass beat. You don't.
I didn't say you were wrong. I'm just saying that's what he said. I don't believe
Yeah, but
it.
it just doesn't make sense that this kid and who brings a chick to a fight
I know.
unless she's the
I
one
don't
that's a
believe it.
stabulator. It's don't bring a. They're normally not good in fights. But if this kid is to be believed, they were walking around at that party saying, "We're gonna go fight. Who want to join us?"
Yeah.
But 5 out of 7 said, "Nah, I'm good, fam," when they arrived at the fight. That to me is just a weird. They didn't know they were going into a fight.
I think they knew. I think the ones probably chickened out once they got there and they saw more people and they're like,
Yeah, could be.
But-
be. Yeah. Yeah, if you bring a chick, it's to send her into the dance floor, and when someone hits on him, you go over, push him away, say, "You hit on my girl," and then I would never do that.
Phase 1, are you driving down towards Farmhouse Lane?
We are.
Okay, and do you recall where on Laurel Glen, or where on the road, I should say, did you stop the car?
About 5 houses down.
Was it close to the intersection of Farmhouse and Laurel Glen?
Maybe that house right across from the farmhouse.
And when you got out, when you stopped the car, did at some point in time you have an interaction with anybody else that was not related to your car?
I believe we did.
And then, can you tell us a little bit about that?
There was a couple kids running down the street.
No declaration has been made in this court so far because there's no opening statement, so we don't know other than he claims not guilty.
And when they ran down the street, do you know what they did?
I think they were talking to people who exited my car.
Do you know who they were talking to?
I don't recall.
Well, you have 12
Were you still in the
minutes
car
to
at this
go.
point? And do you recall what, if anything, was anything thrown from your car or towards your car at that point?
I don't remember anything all the time with my car.
When you were down the street and there were individuals out of your car, did you see anybody engage in any physical altercation down the road?
No.
Did you see anybody from that other group with any weapons on them at that point in time? At some point in time, did you drive the car down the road and turn back?
I did.
And when you did that, what did you do? Did you get in the car? Did you or get out of the car? What did you do?
We went out to check the damage on the car.
When you said we, who's we?
I think they were already down the street. I drove off and then I came back around and then I got out of the car and we were all kind of outside the car.
So were you the only person in the car that drove down and came back?
So,
And when you came back, Mackenzie was out of the car already?
yes,
Tyler,
yes,
the defendant,
yes,
Will,
yes,
Keenan, Demetrius?
yes.
And when you got back, you stopped the car? And
That's not what any of the other kids said. That he was the only one in the car going away. The defendant was in the car when he drove off and came back.
Mhm.
Is anyone taking notes who can tell me what happened that day? Trunk kid and the lady and 25 Tylers got out of the car, but the defendant and this guy was in the car. That's what everyone else have said so far.
when you got out of the car, what did you do when you were looking at your car?
Just observing.
What did you observe?
Dents and nicks on the car and something on the windshield.
Showing your states 31. Is this something that you saw on the night of May 14th, 2022?
Yes.
By the way, what time would you say you got to 43 Laurel Glen on May 14th, 2022? Do you recall?
Maybe 11:30. 11.
So this defect in the windshield here, was that there prior to getting to Laurel Glen?
It's not.
So that happened when you got to Laurel Glen?
Good.
And when you were inspecting your car, tell us how you felt about what had just occurred to your car.
Kind of distraught and upset that my car was damaged and destroyed.
Was anybody else distraught and upset?
Yeah.
Can you please explain how he was upset with regards to your car?
He initially saw the damage before I did. That was the last thing out of my car. He was just going around and, look what they did to your car, it's all destroyed, stuff around those lines.
What, was he saying anything else with regards to, look, he just said, look what they did to your car. He didn't say anything else.
He was just distraught about what happened to my car.
Was he more upset than you?
Maybe visibly. I was quite upset.
Was he aggressive?
Yes.
And when he was acting in this way, what, if anything, happened during this inspection of your car?
He came back around and asked for the knife.
And when you say the knife, what do you mean?
I carried a pocket knife in the bottom of my center console, and it's always been there from when I got the car initially.
Why was it there?
Just any really reason I would need a knife, it was there, to cut anything. Whatever, just at the bottom of my center console, a bunch of random items were along with it, but I knew it was there. And when they initially surrounded my car, I had taken it out and put it on my waist.
So you're talking about down in front of 43 Laurel Glen when your car started to get,
And they were rocking the car and
you took the knife out and put it on your waist?
put it on my waist.
And when you put it on your waist, did you open it up? Did you show it to anybody? And when you did that, why did you do that?
So he had
Just because I didn't expect so many people there, and after seeing what they were doing to my car and how they were talking, I just felt like it was in regard to my own safety. I just took it out and put it down just in case anything were to happen.
Now, after you left that initial interaction where you say you took the knife out and you put it on your lap and you went down the street, could you have just left the area and not gone back?
Could I?
But you didn't do that, right? And you say that the defendant asked you for the knife. Tell me what kinds of things was he saying?
He just said, "Where's the knife? Give me the knife." Something along those lines.
Did he say it in an aggressive manner?
Not really. He just kind of asked for it.
Approach the witness, Your Honor.
Yes.
Jack Antonio was marked as States Exhibit 95 for identification purposes. You recognize States 95?
I do.
And what is States 95?
A copy of the knife.
Is this
picture of the knife that you sent me that is a duplicate of what the knife looked like from May 14th.
It is.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what the knife looked like? When you possessed that?
It is.
Our other office will do that.
Nice. All right, we're to accept in evidence states 95 full exhibit. Thank you.
Showing you states 95, it's not marked as a full exhibit. Is this the knife that you had on in your vehicle on May 14th of 2022?
Yes.
Is this the knife that that the defendant was looking for on May 14th of 2022?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that you had this in your center console. I'll just show you states 32, picture of the inside of your car. And when you say your center console, are you indicating that this area here, or are you indicating the glove box?
No, the center console.
So I'm pointing to the left of states 32, the center console area of the car.
Yep.
And you had taken it out of this area and put it on your lap, and you initially got the 43 Laurel Glen. And when the defendant asked for the knife on May 14th of 22, tell us about what happened. Did you give it to him? What happened? You gave him the knife? And when you gave him the knife, why did you do that?
I wasn't really thinking. I just gave it to him. He asked for it. I gave it to him.
Now, is there any conversation between you or anybody else just slightly before or after you give the defendant the knife?
Yeah, before.
And what are you guys talking about?
Tyler, maybe Lito. I think they knew people at the party. I didn't, but they wanted to go back because maybe they recognized a couple kids, and they were gonna go try and talk to him, calm me down, maybe just make peace with him. That's the whole plan.
And did you in fact get in your car?
Did.
Who got in your car?
I got in the driver's seat, and Lito got in the passenger, and Tyler got in the back.
And did anybody else get in the car at that point in time?
No.
And when you got in the car, where did you go?
We drove up towards the lawn.
When you say drove up to the front
What
lawn,
is
State
this?
49, can you show us in States 49 where you drove up?
Right to the right of the red bush.
This bush?
That bush.
You stopped here? And when you stopped there, what happened when you stopped there?
Tyler and Lito got out.
And where did they go?
They started walking towards the crowd of people that was on the lawn.
And when they did that, what did you do?
I was at my window down, and I was kind of watching them, just making sure they were okay.
And did you stay in that area?
I stayed right parallel to them the whole time.
Did you move the car up a little bit?
I crept up as they walked up.
And when you walked up, were you able to observe the interaction between Tyler and the defendant and the group from 43 Laurel Glen?
It was dark out, and I could see what was going on.
Now, prior to getting there, were you ever under the impression that were you told to leave and get out of here? Do you recall that?
I can't recall that.
Okay. Now, when you when Tyler and the defendant get out of the car and they're on the property here, they're on the property. What kinds of things was there any verbal interaction between the defendant and Tyler and the people from 43 Laurel Glen?
Yeah, they were conversing, but it didn't sound aggressive at first.
Show you states 4. Do you recall where your car was in states 4 when you noticed that they were conversing?
Like a little bit in between the bushes, maybe.
Would it be over here somewhere?
Yeah, middle of the street.
Middle of the street? Were there cars parked on the side of the street?
Yeah.
So you couldn't be near the curb, per se?
I was kind of in the middle of the street just watching.
Okay. And you were in the driver's seat, car was on, you were looking over your shoulder?
Yep.
Through the window?
It
Window was up?
was down. It was down.
It was down? And you said that you heard talking back and forth?
Yeah.
It was normal at first? And how long would you say it was normal for?
10, 20 seconds.
And then at some point in time, did it escalate?
It did.
And can you tell us about that?
Someone came out from the crowd and punched Lito in the face.
And when that happened, what did you observe?
Just all out chaos at that point.
Did you observe where the defendant was after he got punched? Did you observe where Tyler was after that happened? At some point in time, do you stay in that area right as the fight's going on?
The whole time.
And at some point during the fight, does anybody come back to your car?
Yeah. Initially.
And when he comes back to your car, does he get in the car?
No. I think he opened the door.
Okay.
He came up to the door.
Nanya, no. They fought at another house. Then the kids left. Then they got in a group chat and started beefing with each other. Then the kids that got into the fight at the first place said, "You can come to this place and we can fight again." And then they piled into a car, went over there, found out there was way more people that they found out. He drove up the street. Everyone got out, but still, before that, someone was shaking his car and he was pulling out a stabulator. And then they drove off and come back. He looked at his car and then they got into a fight. No, I don't understand what happened either. And yeah, I don't think the jury does it either.
And after he opened the door, what, if anything, did you observe him do next?
He just went back.
And when he went back, at some point in time, how long did he, from the time he left your car to go back, did he come back to the car at some point?
He came back, went back, and then came back. But yes,
How long did that take, do you think?
10, 15 seconds.
Did you see where he went when he left your car the first time? Like, or the second time, I should say? You didn't see him if he went back into the fight? You just,
I think he went back into the fight. That's where we're at, though.
and did you see him engage anybody in the fight at that point? At some point in time, does the fight end? Or
I think Lito got back in the car.
first?
Got back in first.
And where did he get in the car?
He got in the passenger seat.
The front passenger seat? Okay, and at some point in time, did Tyler come back to the car?
He came in after Lito. Lito got in the passenger seat.
No, he got a lawyer. His lawyer said, "Oh, fuck, you're in trouble because you started the first fight and you drove the kids over there to start the second fight. We're going to go get an immunity deal. You're just going to tell this story." No, I mean, of course, you're just going to tell the truth.
And first, and he was like all distraught and said something along the lines of like, "I think I just stabbed like 4 people or something like that, holding the knife."
He said he stabbed 4 people. He was holding the knife. And how soon after he said that did Tyler DeSilva get in the car?
Maybe 10 seconds after, I kind of crept up a little bit more.
So you started to move, and then Tyler jumped in. Where did he jump in?
Passenger seat.
Was it on the passenger side or the driver's side?
Passenger side.
And when he got in the car, what did you do next?
I took off down the street towards Adams.
Okay. So if we're looking at stage 1, you took off towards Adams when you got to Adams. So this way, just the record of motioning from the left to the right towards Adams, right? And when you got to Adams, where did you go?
We took a left. No.
So you went down here, and you hit the cul-de-sac. What happened when you hit the cul-de-sac?
So as I was making going around the cul-de-sac, I was going to stop the car.
You told me to stop the car. Do you recall where you stopped the car? 1.0.
Right there.
And so on the side of the cul-de-sac there.
Yep.
And when you stopped the car, what if anything happened when you stopped the car?
Lito got on with the passenger and threw the knife.
You saw him throw the knife.
I did.
Where did he throw the knife?
Directly into the woods area that was right there.
Show you State's Exhibit 45, the cul-de-sac, Adams Road. You pull that?
Yeah, I do.
Remember to attach the note you write on your Uber on the way over to Staples. If it's the taxman because of your wife's little tax problem yesterday, I bet you he would appreciate you being drunk while just attaching notes.
And does this look like State's 46? Does this look like the wooded area where the knife was?
2 women testified from the first fight that they were there and took the kids who got attacked at the first fight to their house and then drove them over to another party.
Tossed.
Yes.
And
Oh,
after he threw the knife in the woods,
don't attach notes.
what happened after that? Did he get back in the car?
Yeah.
And when he got back in the car, what, if anything, did he say?
I don't recall him saying anything when he got back.
So you got back in the car, and what did you do?
We took
What
off
is this?
and took a
New
right back
picture.
on the street, which is where I believe people were getting their rides.
So you drove back down Laurel Glen. So you came back on States 1, you came back down this way. You took a right on Laurel Glen, go past the house again.
Yep.
And you met people down here.
Yep.
People that were originally in your car. And when you got down to that end of the street, what, if anything?
When my dad passed away, we had to send something to the part of the court system that takes care of that. They sent it back and said it wasn't correct because the pen was black, not blue. He said, it's a photocopy. You can't tell what color the pen was. Well, they determined it was too black to be a blue pen, and it must be a blue pen. Yep.
Happened when you got there?
Dropped Lito off. I think that's where he was getting picked up.
Do you know who he was getting picked up by?
think Mackenzie's sister was coming to pick her and pick them up.
And when he, so he got out of the car at that point? And when he got out of the car, what happened when he got out of the car?
No, it must be blue. It couldn't be black. And they sent it back, a photocopy sent back because the ink was the wrong color. On a photocopy, a black and white photocopy.
Car.
Tyler got in the front passenger. Then he took off towards Tyler's house.
And when you took off, did you know how to get home from where you were?
I used to Google Maps to get to Tyler's.
And you drove down to Tyler's house? And when you got to Tyler's house, did you have, what happened when you got to Tyler's house?
We met Owen Silva. Tyler's cousin. He was outside.
And were you talking with Owen De Silva? Did you tell him what happened? Did you and Tyler De Silva, not what you guys said, but did you have a conversation with Tyler on the way from Laurel Glen to Milford when you talked to Owen De Silva?
Good.
And what kinds of things were you saying to Tyler De Silva?
I kind of told him that Lito said something like, "Oh my God, I think I stabbed people" or something. We were talking about his injuries because Tyler was all bloodied up and in bad condition.
How did Lito appear? Did you get a good look at Lito?
He was also pretty bloodied up. They were both kind of beat up.
Yeah. And did you say anything else when you were talking, when you were going to Milford?
The conversation was kind of along the lines of like, how are we going to get back at these people? Because like, at the time we had no idea the severity of the situation. Like when Lito said like I stabbed people, I'm thinking like he's on the ground and maybe hit someone in the leg or something and got out of it and got back in my car. So it was kind of like the tension was kind of still there. And in the group chat, kids were still texting in the group chat. So it was kind of just still kind of aggressive between the groups. So we were just kind of talking about like how are we going to get back at these guys?
You didn't understand the severity of it?
It's always going to jump or something and we were going home.
And did you text anything in the group chat after the incident at 43 Laurel Glen?
I did.
What did you text?
I guess I said something along the lines of like, enjoy the hospital visit or something.
And at some point in time, you talked to Owen De Silva. Do you stay in Milford that night or do you leave?
I go,
You go home.
Yeah, but they ask for black and white photocopies. So again, if we had done it in color, that would have been wrong as well.
Home and home back to Norwalk. And when you go back to Norwalk, when you get home, do you have any conversation with anybody when you get home?
yeah, my father.
And did you tell your father what had happened?
I did.
And not what he said to you, but what was his appearance to you when you told him what had happened?
He kind of looked shocked and kind of gave me the impression that this was going to be something more serious than I kind of thought it was.
At some point in time, did you have another conversation with another family member?
I did.
Who did you have a conversation with?
My cousin,
And who's your cousin?
Mario.
And you talked about what had happened at 43 Laurel Glen.
Mhm.
And at some point in time, were you contacted by the Shelton Police Department in any way? Was it how close in time was it from the time of the incident to the time Shelton Police Department contacted you?
It was that morning.
And did you talk to the police at that point in time?
My father picked the phone up and just told him that we were hiring an attorney.
So you hired a lawyer at that point? And again, that was May 15th.
We don't know if there was 30 on 2. What we have seen so far in pictures is actively engaged in the fight somewhere between 6 and 10.
Of 2022.
Yeah, we was-
And at some point in time, do you recall in consulting with your lawyer and your father or your parents, do you recall wanting to meet with the state's attorney's office with regards, or the state Shelton Police Department, the state's attorney's office with regards to this incident?
Yep.
And is that when your lawyer approached the state's attorney's office to give us potential information about this case? In particular, where the knife was discarded? And is the first time that you spoke to law enforcement regarding this case, was that on November 2nd of 2022?
I believe so.
And did you give a subsequent interview with law enforcement to clarify anything that may have been misunderstood?
I think everyone lawyered up really fast. When my sister passed away from the big C in hospital suddenly, her first death certificate said it was suicide. They mixed up names. Yeah, that will sadly happen sometimes, and especially if it's a quite common name. That's a good thing about being one like me who has I'm the only one with this name in the world, so, and the only one who ever existed with my name. So I'm easy to write a death certificate for, which Jamie has said to me more than once. You know, I can find you.
No, you can print those up pretty easily. No one will ever find you again.
Oh yeah, that's what you said. I know Irish. We are coming to Denmark. You are not surviving. I said, that's a threat, Jamie. No, it's a promise.
You almost did it, I feel like.
Yeah, you tried to kill me. Iris tried to get me drunk with tequila, and then you would have thrown me out of the window or something, left me on the train tracks. I know what you were planning. You were punching me all the time.
Out of excitement, because every time I get excited about something,
Yeah, punch Iris. Don't punch me.
Iris got it too.
We can't be judging them for lawyering up. Nope. Always, if you have any legal trouble coming, get a lawyer as fast as possible. The evasive strategies are good. 2 beers, not so good. I think this kid was the smart one because he instigated the first fight. He drove them to the second fight, and he re-engaged with them after they had left the first confrontation. So he could probably have been an accessory. My last name doesn't have that many letters. It has 9. And only one of them is one of the weird Danish ones. But still, I'm really easy to find, and that's why I don't use my name.
Enough of the questions, Ron. Thank you.
Oh, yes, a lot of questions.
Good morning, Mr. Snyder. You and I have never met before. Never talked about this case before. Well, so let's talk a little bit about it now. You told us that the evening began with you picking up Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva in your Honda Pilot that evening sometime, correct?
Yes.
And then you took everybody over to 5 Lazy Brook Road, correct?
Yes.
And that's where you had been invited over to the Lifer's house, right?
No.
No.
We weren't invited. I think we just got word that there was a party there.
Okay. Who'd you get that word from?
I can't remember who told us to go, but we just eventually went.
Okay. You got there and you were there for 1 or 2 hours?
That sounds right.
Did you see the lifers when you were there?
Short life, this guy has immunity from the state. He is the driver of the Honda Pilot. And he's the guy who started the first fight. And he's smart enough to get a plea deal.
We did.
You knew Madigan from school?
I did.
And you knew Austin from school? Did you see Austin that evening?
I think briefly I did, yeah.
You said there were maybe 40 people there when you got there?
So,
You'd been drinking at the party and beforehand?
yes.
But you didn't bring the alcohol. That was Tyler De Silva who brought the alcohol. And then 2 individuals that you didn't know arrived and you told them that they had to leave, right? Did one of those individuals, the one holding the case of beer, did he give you a beer?
Giving me a beer now.
Did he give Mr. Valle a beer?
I can't remember that.
Did he seem to you like he was trying to make friends with you
Initially, maybe at the end of the party, yeah.
at the end of the party?
No, to get into the party.
To get into the party. Gotcha. And you told him that he needed to give you that beer.
Yes.
A dispute broke out about whether or not you were going to actually get that beer from him, correct?
Yeah, it was about like him giving us the beer, and then in turn he'd be able to stay at the party.
When you say giving us the beer, you were the one asking for the beer, right?
Yeah.
You were the one who was talking with this individual, right?
We all were.
Okay. Tyler De Silva was talking.
It's actually quite important because that comes to the credibility of the other witnesses. Remember that the kid who got punched claimed, no, the kid with the beer claimed they were really friendly to these guys and walked up and said, hey, you want a beer? But they were antagonizing them. And so if he can put in some doubt that their testimony is truthful, this is really important, actually.
Talking to him?
We all were, yeah. Me, Lito, and Tyler.
Okay. And yet the person that squares up, that's you, right?
Yes.
Because you're the person who took the beer from him, right? So would you agree that you were the person that was having the most direct interaction with Mr. Hines?
I would.
And you,
007, broccoli hair. That's everyone except ponytail guy has broccoli hair in this trial. It's that's not narrowing it down. It's like saying one of the guys.
Later come to find out that that person was Ryan Hines.
Yes.
And you said that you moved to the driveway, and that's where you squared up and you had the fight, right? And you guys were moving around in that course of that fight. The video that we watched, that doesn't catch the initial stages of that fight, does it?
I mean, because I don't think the fight started until the end of that video.
Okay, that catches the very beginning of that fight? So you guys had not begun fighting until you got out into the driveway.
Yes. Yes.
And people sort of formed a circle around, right? There were some folks watching. And it was just you and Mr. Hines that were going to have this square off. And you said Mr. Valle came around and hit him in the back of the head, right? And that he lunged at you,
Ryan Hines said, yeah.
or you lunged at him.
Ryan Hines punched at me.
Sorry. So Ryan lunges at you. You'd already taken a punch at Mr. Hines at that point. He tackles you to the ground. He's on top of you. A group descends and tries to break that thing up, right?
Haven't heard
At some
that.
point, you all get up and you go your separate ways.
Yeah.
The kids from Shelton High that had just been involved with the fight, they walk down the driveway and get in the car somewhere.
Yeah.
Did you see them do that? And where was your car parked?
To the left. Looking down the driveway, it was off to the left.
Okay, so nearby. And you, how long before you got in your car and left?
5-10 minutes, maybe.
Did you see at any point Mrs. Leifer come out, shut the party down, and give the beer back to Mr. Hines?
I remember her coming out. I don't remember her giving back the beer.
In any event, you didn't have the beer anymore at that point, correct? He said after that the plan was to go home, right?
It was.
When you say go home, to your own home?
No, I was going to be sleeping out that night.
Where were you going to be sleeping that night?
Most likely Tyler's.
Tyler DeSilva's. And as far as Tyler DeSilva, that was a close friend of yours? Do you remain close friends? And would you say you were closer with Mr. DeSilva than you were with Mr. Valle?
I don't know if it's built into the Connecticut. I've only heard that he's charged with the unaliving and 3 counts of assault. I could look it up.
I would. I think that's
Good
fair to
host.
say.
Okay, you weren't going to sleep at Mr. Valle's house that night.
It was possible, but I think the plan was to sleep at Tyler's.
Okay.
That's what we frequently slept out at.
And you said at some point you got added to this basketball group chat, right? Correct?
Yes, correct.
Sorry, we've got the court reporter here, and you have to say out loud something she can't get. You didn't create that group chat. Mr. Valle didn't create that group chat. Mr. DeSilva.
In Connecticut, when a person is charged with murder, the jury can also consider lesser included offenses, meaning related crimes with fewer elements than murder. This allows the jury to potentially convict on a lesser serious charge if they are not convinced of the defendant's guilt on the murder charge, but are convinced of guilt on a related offense. Lesser included offenses of murder in Connecticut: manslaughter, 1st degree, 2nd degree, criminally negligent homicide. These are the lesser included in a murder charge. So there will be options to consider.
Didn't create that group chat, but you got added to it.
Yeah.
When you got added to it, was Mr. Valle also added to it at that same time?
I'm not sure if he was at it, but I knew a couple of us were. I'm not sure exactly who, but we were all kind of talking about it.
Okay. Who else was on that group chat?
There were probably a good 20 people in it, and about probably 3 or 4 of us in it. So it was majority kids I wasn't aware of. I didn't know.
So when you were looking at that group chat, you couldn't see the names of the folks that you didn't know. You just saw numbers. Is that fair?
Yep.
But you quickly got an understanding of who those unknown numbers were, right? And you understood that that was the kids, at least some of the kids and kids who were related.
Immunity, if he tells the truth, who determines what's the truth? The state does. So he's going to say what the state needs. On Thursdays, we do chess, because if you want thick mommy on all fours for lunch, hit her with a donkey punch instead of going in for the munch. Your chest better be effing swole. I would say you need a good shoulder as well and some strong knees, because if you want to go down there and give her the old donkey punch, you need some core. But I might have to go look for a thick mummy on. Oh, it is Thursday today. Well, can't find a thick mummy. Thank you, Brendan.
Related to the kids that you had just gotten into the fight with, right? Because you said that there was, your understanding based on what they were texting was that they wanted you to fight with them, right? And you sent text back indicating you were willing to do that, right?
I thought it was.
So you got back in the car with Demetrius, Keenan, Will, Tyler De Silva, Raul, and Mackenzie Trefkampi. And did they all know that you were getting in the car to go fight these kids?
Yeah, we made it pretty apparent that people who were going to be in my car were going to go with us to go fight.
So Mackenzie Trefkampi knew that you were going in the car to go fight?
Objection as to what she knew.
Sustained.
When you say that people in the car knew that you were going to go fight, what led you to believe that they knew that?
I kind of went up, and after we were in the group chat, I was like, I can't remember if we were already in the car or driving, but I said, if you're in the car or you're getting in my car, we're going to go fight these people. And I think the people in my car agreed they were going with us.
Demetrius?
Yeah.
Keenan? Will Sinjwal?
Yeah.
Tyler De Silva? Raul Valle?
Yep.
Mackenzie Trefkampi?
Yep, I believe so, yeah.
You told us you were driving and that Tyler De Silva was the passenger at this point, right?
Yep.
And so you got in the car and you went over to Trumbull High School.
Yep.
And there you said that you were expecting to find the kids who were using this basketball group chat to invite you to fight, right? They weren't there. You said there was a black BMW there?
Black and blue, I think it was a dark colored.
Could it? You
It was white when the other testified.
don't think it was a white BMW?
I don't think so. I don't remember the way we
It was dark.
I think so, yeah.
As far as the time of day, it was dark that night.
Yes.
And the people in that BMW, those were people that your group knew, right?
I believe someone in my car knew them.
Okay. And you said you were there for 10 minutes, nobody got out of the car.
I don't remember that. I didn't get out of the car.
What were you doing in the car?
On my phone, probably.
Music on?
Most likely.
Car running?
Yeah.
7 of you in the car talking through the window, you told us, to the other vehicle. Was there another vehicle there with a group of girls in it?
I don't remember that.
And then you said while you were sitting there on this group chat text, somebody not from your group sends the address 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right? And it was your understanding that that was now where these kids wanted you to come in order to have a fight. And you drove there because you wanted to have a fight.
Yes.
Did you know these kids?
I didn't.
And you didn't even know where this was, right? You're from Norwalk. And so you get this address there, 43 Laurel Glen Drive. You got 6 other people in the car. You don't even know where it is. You don't even know who these kids are. And you decide you're going to drive everybody over there.
Finally, this defense lawyer is doing good. I actually think he is poking some credibility holes.
Yeah.
So, because he got this kid to admit he had the stabulator. He was the one who started the fights. He's the one who takes the other people to the fight. So they're probably sitting in the jury box thinking, why did he catch a free boat ride? I don't know why it's a boat ride, Jamie.
I don't know either.
I didn't know it was a party. I'm assuming that that maybe the kid who was just in a scuffle with us, he maybe had a couple friends and wanted to settle it or something. So that's why we drove over to go fight them.
You're responsible when you're driving for the people that are in that vehicle, right?
Yes.
You thought that was a good idea to drive all those folks over there to 43 Laurel Glen Drive?
It was a mutual understanding.
You thought it was a good idea?
I wasn't thinking about the potential consequences.
You were 16 years old, right?
I was.
And you didn't think when you got there that there were going to be 30 or 40 people, did you?
Absolutely not.
And you didn't know where it was. You had to GPS it, right?
Yes.
And it was a kind of confusing layout when you got there because there's through roads and cul-de-sacs, right? You didn't know which one was leading to which end, right? Could have been a dead end, could have been a through street, but you didn't know. And you say you didn't drive by the house when you first got there. You went straight there and you parked the car to the right, right? When you got there, there were people already out in the yard?
No.
Nobody was out in the yard. Okay. And you indicated to the folks in the group chat, we're here.
Yep.
And then people started coming out of the house, right?
Yes.
One person came out of the house, right?
Yes.
Quickly followed by a second person, right?
Yes.
Then a third person, right? Then a fourth person, right?
Yes.
A fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth, right?
Yes.
At that point, you're outnumbered now, right?
Yes.
A ninth, a 10th, an 11th, a 12th, right?
Yes.
Now what are you starting to think in that car?
We're not going to be fighting anymore.
You're not going to be fighting anymore? Why not?
It didn't seem sensible at the time. It wasn't what we expected to see when we initially arrived, or were going to arrive.
You weren't in control of that situation at that point, were you? No. Drove all those folks over there, parked them. Wasn't what you expected, was it? It was getting scary, wasn't it?
It was.
It was getting terrifying, wasn't it?
It was.
You worried about what was going to happen now, I bet.
60 years.
How many people do you think ultimately came out of that car, out of that house?
They don't
Maybe
do
30,
closings?
maybe a little bit more.
All came over to your car.
Yes.
7 of you in there and 30 on the outside, right?
Yes.
Surrounding the vehicle, right?
Yes.
And at first they came up to the driver's side, some of them, didn't they?
did.
You had your window down?
I had it cracked, I believe.
Cracked. Didn't want to put it the whole way down at that point, right? And people started coming up and started talking to you through the window, right?
Yes.
And you say at first that was peaceful.
I don't think it was peaceful at first when they all kind of walked up. Everyone was kind of screaming. I think I heard something along the lines of like, "Where's the kid who did this to me?" It was someone from the party from before.
That was Ryan Hines, right?
He could have been. I didn't see his face.
Spit at you.
Yes.
Did it make it into the car or just on the car?
I don't think it hit me, but I think it made it into the car.
There's people in front of the car.
There's
people on both sides of the car.
It's true.
There's people behind the car.
True.
Some of those people get on the car.
That's possible. I don't remember anybody getting on top of the car.
Do you remember the car rocking?
I do.
Do you recall if somebody was on
Did someone come knocking? Because that's a party foul.
Oh my God.
the back bumper jumping up and down?
It's possible. I wasn't.
I'm gonna overrule it. Thank you.
I wasn't really looking at the back of my car. I was kind of focused on what was going on in my area.
Why didn't you just drive away?
I did eventually, but I didn't want to, run anybody over. So I kind of started itching my car out a little bit, and then people started eventually making way.
You couldn't just pull away, right? If you just pulled away, you'd have hit somebody who was standing directly in front of the car, right? You'd hit somebody who was on either side of you, possibly, right? There was lights on the street, but it was dark, right?
Yeah.
About 11 o'clock or so. Misty, kind of rainy that evening.
Sounds about right.
Closing arguments are standard in Connecticut.
People inside your car were terrified, weren't they?
Objection to what other people were.
Sustained.
What was the demeanor from the people inside your car? What did that indicate to you?
They wanted to go home.
They didn't want to be there anymore, right? They were terrified,
Someone
right?
is a little behind.
Most likely, yeah.
And you were thinking to yourself, oh my God, what have I gotten these folks into, right?
Yeah.
I brought all these people here. I'm the driver of this vehicle. I'm the one who put us here, right?
I think that's fair that I drove them there, yeah.
Well, nobody could reach over and you wouldn't let them take the car from you and say, let me drive now, right?
Right, but I didn't drive anyone somewhere where they didn't want to be. And then I dropped them off at the end of the street when they wanted to go home.
Because Mackenzie Trafficante wanted to go and get in a fight.
So I think everyone was just kind of under the impression that they knew we were going to go meet a couple kids to fight. No one really expected 30 people to walk out of the house.
Keenan Frasick knew that you were going to go get into a fight.
Objection to what Keenan.
Sustained.
Something about Keenan's demeanor indicated to you that he wanted to go along for a fight.
I think I made it pretty apparent before we got in the car that that's what we were going to do.
Something about Demetrius Arpanis's demeanor indicated to you that he wanted to go get into a fight.
Again, I think I told the people that getting in my car that's what we were planning on doing.
You know Keenan?
I did.
How close were you to Keenan?
We weren't super close. We were teammates.
Teammates on the football team. Demetrius Arpanis, was he a teammate on the football team?
Yes, it was.
They starters?
I don't believe at the time of the incident. No.
How many people were on the driver's side of the car?
Initially, when we were at the end of the street,
When you're right there parked in front of the house, when you first stopped at the house?
there was a crowd of people. I don't really know. It
Too many to count?
Yeah.
How many people were on the passenger side?
was kind of a big crowd all around the car.
And you said they were touching the car, right?
Mm.
Hands on the vehicle?
Objection has to be answered.
Sustained.
Were they punching the car?
Objection has to be answered.
I'll allow it.
I believe so. Throwing stuff at the car, taking the car, stuff like that.
At some point, the windshield gets smashed while you were there in front of the house, while these people are surrounding the vehicle. Are people inside your car saying anything?
Objection as to what they said.
I asked, are they saying?
I'm going to overrule the objection at this point, just yes or no, relative to the question. Please ask the question again.
Are people in your car at this point saying anything?
Yes.
And did that indicate to you that they were scared?
Yeah, I think we all were.
In fact, you were so scared, you reached into the center console where you knew you kept a pocket knife, right?
That's true.
And you did that because you were so scared, you thought,
I don't know if it's another knife like the one, because I believe they tossed the knife. We haven't heard someone found the knife. They were looking for the knife but didn't find it. So I don't think they ever found the knife. It must have been this kid saying, yeah, I had a whatever it is.
I might need to defend myself, right? You thought somebody might smash this window, right? They just smashed the windshield. What's going to stop them from smashing my window, right? And I'm stuck here in this vehicle, can't move forward because there's people surrounding it, right? And you thought, what am I going to do if people reach into this vehicle after smashing my window and pull me out of it, right? So you reached in and you grabbed the knife out, right? And you told us you put it on your waist. Did you mean you put it in your lap?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, because you didn't like take it and use the clip to put it on your belt or something, right? You didn't put it in your pocket, did you? You didn't think, well, it's right here in the center console. If I need it, I can get it out at that point, right?
I was buried under a bunch of random wires and stuff like that.
You didn't know what these people surrounding the car were going to do, did you? But you were scared enough to think that you needed that knife, right?
Of course.
Mr. Valle didn't know about that knife, did he?
Objection as to what Mr. Valle.
Sustained.
Had you ever told Mr. Valle about that knife?
Never came up in conversation.
Never came up in conversation. You had never told him about it, did you?
There wouldn't have been a reason to.
So as far as you knew, he had no knowledge that that knife was there.
Objection as to what he did.
Sustained.
And you were shown a picture of what you say is a copy of that knife, right? You said, though, that that knife that you had in the car had been in that vehicle since it was given down to you by your brother, right?
It was just in the family, that car. It was in the family.
And the knife had been in there as well, right?
And that's why I kept it for years, yeah.
So it wasn't a brand new shiny knife that you got for that purpose alone that day, was it? It was a tool that you kept there. You said for fishing?
Yeah, for anything you'd really need a knife for, it was just there.
Were you raised as somebody who was told, you know, it's useful, helpful to have a pocket knife when you need one?
I just think a knife is useful in a lot of random scenarios in life, just something to have, yes.
At some point, the situation became so terrifying inside that vehicle that despite the fact that there were people in front of it who might get hurt if you were moving, you thought that's what you needed to do to protect yourself and to protect the people in the car, right?
Was to grab the knife.
Was to, well, you already had the knife, but now you thought, I got to move this vehicle. Even if these people in front are going to get hurt, we might get hurt if I don't, right? And so you moved the vehicle forward. People backed off of it, or they stayed off, they fell to the side. What happened?
As I started pushing the car forward, revving it and then pushing it forward, people started dispersing a little bit, so it made a path for us to just kind of speed right off.
You saw a path and you took it. Car took off down the street at a high rate of speed, right?
Yeah.
And then you drove back and forth, up and down the street, right?
I don't remember that.
Throwing things out the window at this group, right?
I don't remember that happening.
That didn't happen, did it? You drove down, some people got out of the car.
Again, this is what the other kids have said, that he whipped up and down the streets and throwing stuff out the window. He's poking a lot of holes in the state's case, but still, I'm not sure it's enough.
Around that area where you showed us on Exhibit 1, right? And in fact, do you recall that people from the party were now chasing the vehicle down the street as you were driving away?
Initially, yeah.
In fact, when you let these folks out, or when they got out of the car when it first stopped, a group of these Shelton kids were coming down chasing them, right?
So yeah.
And you could see that at least in your rearview mirror, could you not? And then you drove the car off up ahead, correct? And at that point, you were alone in the vehicle?
So yeah.
And you drove up and you went and you turned down Farmhouse Lane, right?
No, I think I went down straight.
Down to the end of Laurel Glen?
Yeah. That I think it is.
Okay. We can't see that dead end on Exhibit 1, can we, behind you?
No.
It extends a further way down there, right? So,
Really good friend, but also a really smart friend. He got an immunity deal with the state.
you lost sight of the people that you had just dropped off at some point, did you not? You couldn't see them anymore because you had driven down to the end of the street, right? And you thought, oh my God, I just left all these folks at the street that I just drove them to with this crowd of people that just attacked the car, right? You were scared for them at that point, were you not?
I turned around and I went back.
You went back even though you were scared?
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen if you didn't go back?
That calls for speculation. I'll tell you that.
So
You were worried if you didn't go back that your friends are going to get hurt, weren't you?
Yeah. That's fair to say.
And then when you got back, can you show us again on Exhibit 1 where you stopped the vehicle when you came back to your friends after going down to the end of Laurel Glen?
This is going to be the 25th place.
Near the intersection of Laurel Glen and Farmhouse? Okay. And where at that point, and when you stopped the car, you got out at that point, right? And where at that point was Keenan Frasick?
I believe on the curb, I think.
Did he come over to the vehicle?
The vehicle was kind of right up to it. I don't remember him walking like up on top of the vehicle, but he was around, I guess.
Did you talk to him or did he stay on the curb?
I don't remember any conversation I had with Keenan. But,
And did Mackenzie Trafcanti come up to the car or did she stay on the curb?
I don't remember if Mackenzie was up on the curb. I think she was on the curb. I don't remember any conversation with her either for going up.
Will Sinjwald, did he stay on the curb? Demetrius Arfanis, did he stay on the curb?
So yeah, they were all kind of just right there.
And so at the vehicle then, near the intersection of Laurel Glen and Farmhouse Lane, is yourself, Mr. Valle, and Tyler De Silva?
Not yet in the car, but yeah, we were all kind of there.
Inspecting the car, you told us.
Yeah, I got out and started looking around.
And do you remember some Shelton High kids coming up and having an interaction with you?
I don't remember any conversation I had with them. I remember that the day that they were there or at least around the area. Then I got back in the car.
How close were you to Mr. Valle?
Around the car. I was inside of it, so.
But again, be a smart co-defendant. Sing before anyone else takes a plea deal, and you will get off scot-free. Especially when they're going to charge you as an adult. They really want someone who can put the stabulator in your hand. And no one else had put the stabulator in his hand at the time of the stabulations. They put it in his hand 5 minutes before, which can't be true because that's not when he had it, according to this witness. But smart witnesses lawyer up and get plea deals.
You didn't get out of the car or you got back in the car?
I got back in the car.
Okay. But do you know Tyler Rich?
I don't.
Do you know Ricky or Enrico Fiola?
I heard about him prior to the incident. I didn't know him.
Did you see either Mr. Rich or Mr. Fiola down there at the vehicle when you were at Farmhouse Lane in Laurel Glen Drive?
I think they were in the area. I don't remember. I don't recall seeing them. I don't remember that.
Okay. And you've told us that there was some discussion down at the car about the damage, right?
Yeah.
You told us you were upset about the damage, right?
I was. Yeah, I was going around looking at the damage on my car.
You told us you were distraught about the damage, right?
I explained this to my parents, stuff like that, thinking about damage, insurance, all that.
And you didn't know any of these kids at...
No, I still believe that there's a high likelihood he will be found guilty. Because that's what we see in most unaliving cases, that the jury will disregard most evidence and just say, well, one kid isn't here anymore. I would believe to have any chance of getting it just down to a lesser included, he needs to go on the stand and be good on the stand. We've seen it in so many cases. And again, it's not me believing he's guilty, because a lot of people sometimes get mad when I say stuff like this. It's not me believing he's guilty. It's me looking at what I have seen in case after case after case. I was dumbfounded that Karen Reed got off with the pure OUI. Well, I wasn't, because I was the only one saying she's going to get an OUI and she's just going to get the regular. Everyone else thought 2.5 years. But normally, juries want to convict because one person is dead. And they want to kind of have this sense of, we need to do our duty and give this kid revenge. So at this point, if I was a betting man, I would put him way up there, that he could get the full boat. If he can go up and do a great impression, he might skate on a lesser included, but I still think they will find him guilty. But this a-hole, yeah, he should sit right next to him for as long as that kid is in prison, because this kid was the facilitator of all of it. He started the fight, he drove them to the fight, he re-engaged at the fight, and he had the stabulator. But a smart defendant, get a lawyer, gets a plea deal or an immunity deal, and becomes not a defendant, but a witness.
43 Laurel Glen Drive.
I didn't know.
But you knew that the kid that you'd gotten in the fight with at 5 Lazy Brook was there at that party at 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right?
Yeah, I didn't see him particularly, but I kind of got the impression he was there from what they were kind of screaming and
I
stuff.
think they said it
Why we were
when he
there.
just took the stand.
And you told us that there's discussion about, look what they did to your car, right?
Yes.
You were visibly upset.
Yeah.
Mr. Valle, you said, was visibly upset.
Yeah.
Mr. De Silva also visibly upset.
I think everyone kind of was. We were kind of all in a state of shock about what just happened.
While you're standing there by the car, and these Shelton High kids, how far away were they?
I don't remember how they were.
Further down towards the house?
I would assume so.
Not close enough that you could say to them, hey, what'd you guys do to my car?
I don't remember having any conversation with them when they were there.
They were too far away to have a conversation, right? They didn't approach you guys and say, hey, let's squash this beef right now, did they?
Not me, no.
Did they approach anybody in your group?
I drove off. I don't know. I wasn't really there.
Okay. When you drove off, though, was before what you've just now described, with everybody being at the car and inspecting it for damage, right? So when you're at the car inspecting it for damage, you didn't see any of these Shelton High kids come down and have a conversation with you guys as you're inspecting the car, did you?
I didn't have any conversation there.
And then you told us at some point you understood that Tyler De Silva wanted to go back to 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right? Because he knew, as far as you understood it, some of the kids there.
Right.
You live in Norwalk, right? Is that where you grew up?
Interesting.
So you're a lifelong Norwalk resident?
I should do interviews. Easy content. I don't have to say anything. I can just sit here and say, interesting. But yeah, the Harmony Montgomery case, probably the worst case I have covered.
And Tyler De Silva is not from Norwalk, right? He was living in Milford at this time, but he had grown up in Shelton for some part of his life, had he not?
I believe so.
And he knew some of these kids at the Shelton party.
Right.
And he told you, your understanding was that he knew some of these kids at the Shelton party, and he wanted to go back and make peace.
Right. His family, I guess, knew a lot of their families, so that was the whole purpose.
And at this point, you could have just left the area, right?
Could have.
You could have hopped in the car and said, everybody, let's go home. This is a bad idea, right?
Yeah.
You were 16 at the time.
I was.
How long had you been driving?
Maybe 8 months, 9 months.
Were you supposed to have these kids in your car?
I was not.
And then Mr. Valle came up to you and he said, where's the knife? Give me the knife, right?
Yeah.
Like that aggressively?
I wouldn't say it was that aggressive, but it was just asking for it.
He was just like, hey, where's that knife that you had?
I don't think he was that aggressive. No,
He wasn't that aggressive about it.
he was aggressive, but it wasn't super. It wasn't what you just presented.
And he didn't.
Knife guy is the driver of the car. He has the stabulator. He was sitting with it in his lap. And then they drove off. Then they came back. Then the defendant asked for the stabulator, apparently, and went in and just said, I'm going to treat you like a ham sandwich. So, yeah. No, that called me broken boulanger.
A
Because
what?
boulanger is baker in French.
Oh.
Why he's pillaring this guy? He's a cute guy.
Want something else at that point, did he?
Just a knife. He didn't want anything else. No.
He didn't indicate to you, hey, let's all grab some weapons and go back there, right? He didn't say, I want that knife so that, let's go back and get our revenge, right? In fact, you understood from his demeanor that he was also scared, right?
More upset, I presume.
You presume.
He was a little bit more angry in his demeanor.
You were still scared.
I was.
You thought these kids might come back down the street again, right?
Not necessarily.
That didn't cross your mind?
Well, I knew I had the car, so if anything, we could have just driven out of there.
But you didn't.
Didn't.
Tyler De Silva was adamant that he wanted to go back and make peace. Tyler De Silva was adamant that he wanted to go back and make peace, correct?
Objection, that calls for your statement.
You understood that Tyler De Silva wanted to go back and make peace?
Yeah. Him and Lito.
You understand?
People there.
Mr. Valle knew people there?
Both of them at the time knew people from Shelton since they were from Oakwood.
So you got back in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah.
You saw Mr. Valle go digging through the console to get the knife, right? You saw Mr. Valle go digging through the glove box to get the knife, right? You saw him tearing up the car to try and find the knife, right? You didn't see any of that, did you?
No.
You gave it to him?
When he asked for it.
He opened the blade to inspect it, right?
No.
Took that knife and he got it ready, right?
No.
Took that knife that you gave him and he put it in his pocket, right?
I believe so. I don't remember where he put it. He didn't open it.
And you understood or felt like you needed to take Mr. De Silva back to 43 Laurel Glen Drive?
I don't understand the question. Can you repeat that?
You didn't say, I'm not taking you back to 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right? All three of you get back into the car. You say that Mr. Valle got into the passenger side
Yes.
beside you, and that Mr. De Silva got in the back.
Yep.
On the passenger side as well.
Yes.
You drove up, and did you park sort of near the driveway at that point?
No, a little further back. I wasn't ever parked. I was always in drive, just
Foot on the brake.
yeah.
You weren't expecting anybody to get out of that car and get into a fight, were you?
It wasn't aggressive at that point.
There was no talk in the car as you drove down there about, we're going to get him now.
Objection, that's what was said in the car.
I'm going to strike the last answer, Madam, and one of the jury. Thank you.
Was there conversation in the car on the way down there?
It was a very brief drive. I don't remember any conversation.
Nothing about what was occurring in the vehicle on the way down there led you to believe that there was about to be a fight, was there? And as you got there,
Move on.
you're in the middle of the street. There's cars parked on both sides, correct?
Yeah.
And you stop the car. You don't put it in park, but you keep it running and got your foot on the brake. You see Mr. De Silva get out of the car.
Right.
You see Mr. Valle get out of the car.
Right.
Mr. Valle doesn't have the knife in his hand at that point, does he?
I don't remember what he had in his hand. I just know they both got out of the car and just started walking towards him.
Not in an aggressive way. Not screaming threats at the people that are already in the yard, right? You saw them, you said you were looking over your shoulder, looking out the window?
Yeah.
Watching them the whole time? How many people were in the lawn?
The same amount, probably about 30 kids.
Your two friends get out and they walk up, right? You can see them approach these 30 kids. Those 30 kids swarm forward to meet them.
Right.
They start getting aggressive with these two kids, right?
I don't remember getting aggressive until someone punched Lito. It was kind of cordial, I guess, initially.
Okay.
Maybe somebody in the crowd screaming or something, but it wasn't a fight at that point.
Could you hear either of your friends screaming anything?
No.
Did you see either of your friends approach them in a fighting posture?
No.
Did you see either of your friends square up with anybody? You just saw Mr. Valle get punched in the face, right?
About 10 seconds, 15 seconds in, yeah. Someone just came and hit him.
Did you see Mr. Valle with his shirt up over his head?
I don't recall that. No.
And you told us that once Mr. Valle got punched in the face, chaos broke out, right?
Right.
You couldn't see Mr. Valle anymore, could you? You couldn't see Mr. De Silva anymore, could you? But you could see bodies moving and rolling around, right? And it looked like 30 people had descended onto two people, did it not?
Yeah, I did.
You could see punching and kicking going on, could you not?
I did.
You could see stomping going on, could you not?
Yeah,
You were scared for your friends at that point, were you not?
I was.
Terrified about what was happening to them, right?
I was.
So scared that you didn't even get out of the car, did you?
I wanted to be there just in case they got out so they could get in my car and we could leave.
You didn't want to go get into that scrum, did you?
I felt like I'd be more helpful just as the way to escape rather than jump in. So I stayed in the car.
You didn't know if your friends were going to come out of that fight, did you?
I hope so.
But you didn't know, did you?
No.
You didn't know what was going to happen when 30 took on 2, did you?
No.
That was practically the whole Shelton High School football team, wasn't it?
Isn't there
That's
like
fair to say,
50
I
kids
guess.
on a?
You were so scared, you didn't want to get out of that car, right?
Don't know.
Because it was terrifying to watch, was it not? At some point, you were able to see Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva again, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Valle came up to the car, correct?
Yes.
Door opens slightly, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Interior light comes on because the door is open, right?
Yep.
In fact, when he came up to that car, his momentum was moving forward towards the car as though he'd been pushed, was it not?
I don't remember that. I just remember.
Did you hear a bump as he hit the car?
I don't remember that.
He opened the door. Could you see his face?
I don't remember what it looked like at that moment. It was kind of real quick.
You didn't see Mr. De Silva anywhere, did you? You could still see that a fight was going on, could you not?
I did.
Could you see what appeared to be flashlights or phone lights at that point?
I believe so, yeah.
When you saw Mr. Valle, but you didn't see Mr. De Silva, you were terrified about what had happened to Mr. De Silva, were you not?
Yeah.
You wondered if he was going to get killed, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then you lost sight of Mr. Valle again as he headed back in towards the fight, right?
Yeah.
You saw Mr. Valle go to the yard, right?
He left my car. I think he went towards the yard.
And at some point, as he got onto the yard, you couldn't see him anymore, could you?
No.
But you could still see that those 30 kids hadn't gone anywhere, right?
Everyone was kind of still scattered along the lawn.
And then at some point, you saw Mr. De Silva come back to the car.
Yes.
He gets into the car, right?
Right.
And you can see him at that point, right?
Okay.
And you told us he's been battered, right?
Yeah.
He looked beaten and bloodied, right? You could tell he had obviously been injured in the course of the fight where you lost track of him, right? He said Mr. Valle got back into the car, into the passenger seat, right? He said he was all distraught, right? What was distraught about his face?
It wasn't necessarily his face. He just got in and he was just in shock, I think, and he said, like, oh my fucking God, I think I just stabbed somebody, or I think I just stabbed people, or something along those lines.
He didn't say, man, I just got us payback for what happened, right?
No,
He didn't seem happy about what had happened. He seemed distraught.
yeah, he looked in shock, yeah.
Still scared?
Yeah,
Take a
probably.
break.
Probably, that's cultural speculation.
That's the answer. The question was already asked. I'll
And then you took off down Laurel Glen Drive, right? That's what you told us.
To Adams,
Towards Adam.
towards Adam, yeah.
You hit a cul-de-sac and you told us that Mr. Valle told you to stop the car. And he got out and threw the knife. You could see the knife in his hand?
Yes.
You could see it in his hand. Was it open or closed? Still open?
When he got in the car.
From when he got out of the car?
The car?
He got into the car and he still had the knife open on him, you're saying?
Yes, when he got in the car and said what he said, he had the knife in his hand.
Could you see blood on the knife?
I can't recall seeing any blood on it.
You saw the knife leave his hand and go flipping into the woods?
It was pretty dark. It
It was pretty dark, wasn't it?
was.
How far away from the car did he get in order to throw that knife?
Stepped right outside.
Just right outside the car? In front?
I was angled parallel to the woods, so he just opened the door, stepped right out into it.
He said he got back into the car at that point, didn't say anything.
Yep.
You drove back down to Laurel Glen Drive where the people you had left were still there.
Yes.
And some of those people got into Madison Traficante's car, Mackenzie's sister.
His sister arrived around the same time we were driving down.
Mr. Valle got into the same vehicle. Tyler gets into the front passenger with you.
Yes.
You had to use Google Maps to get out of there, right? Because you didn't know where you were. And then you went and you met Owen De Silva?
Yep.
Where was that?
At Tyler's house. Tyler's house.
And you said when you saw both Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva, they were both beat up and bloodied up, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was no conversation in the car about what had happened. It was just, how are we going to get back at these guys?
That was kind of what was going through my head almost. I'm not sure about Tyler, but that was a conversation we were talking about majority of the time.
And you texted on this group chat, enjoy the hospital stay?
I didn't know the severity of the situation. When Lito told me he stabbed somebody, I just assumed it wasn't anything major, just because people were still texting in the group chat. Like, the group chats were still flowing, like spamming after everything happened. So I just assumed that they just jumped to us. Lito stabbed maybe someone in the leg or something. That was just my smirky response, I guess. I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know what happened.
You went home and you talked to your dad, and he said, this is more serious than what you think, son.
Yeah, it was kind of that tone. Yeah.
And when the cops called you on May 15th and said, we'd like to talk to you about this, you told them you weren't going to come in and talk to them, right?
I wasn't on the phone. I believe it's something my dad probably said.
You didn't go in and talk to them, right? You were worried about your involvement in this, right?
Yes.
And you waited 6 months until you got an agreement concerning prosecution in place before you talked to them, right?
Yes, sir.
In fact, you did that right here in this courthouse, did you not?
Yes.
And after you got that, it's the first time that you talked to anybody about this, right?
That is true.
And you're telling us now today that you gave Mr. Valle the knife before driving everybody back down to 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right?
Yes.
And this prosecution agreement that you have, it's for complete immunity, right?
From the events that happened on that day, yeah.
You can't be prosecuted for anything that happened on May 14th, right?
Not at this time, though.
And those potential things that you might have been prosecuted for could be murder, right?
I I was told assault in the first degree or something along those lines.
You would agree that the agreement itself talks about the homicide of James McGrath and the assaults on Thomas Connery Jr., Ryan Hines, and Faison Teal that took place on May 14th, right?
That's correct.
One of the things that you could be prosecuted for would be being an accessory to a murder, right?
I think that's possible.
And could be prosecuted for assaults, correct?
I believe so.
You could be possibly prosecuted for conspiracy to commit those things, correct?
I guess so.
And you've had what's explained to you, what's known as your maximum exposure explained to you, right? That if you were prosecuted for these things and if you were convicted of these things, you could spend your life in prison, correct?
I guess so.
60 years for accessory to murder, right?
So
20 years for an assault in the first degree, right?
Yep.
You didn't want to tell anybody your involvement in this case until you got that in place, right?
If they go for manslaughter in the first degree, it's a Class B felony, potentially leading to up to 20 years and a fine of 15,000. If it's in the second degree, it's a maximum of 10 years and a fine up to 10,000. I think a red rum is excessive. I would probably do one of the manslaughters, but that's still a long time for a young kid.
Yeah.
Your understanding is that you have to come in here and testify truthfully in order for this agreement to hold, right?
Yeah.
Your immunity from all those things depends upon who thinking that you testified truthfully.
I think the state.
Not me, right? I don't make that decision, do I? The state's attorney makes that decision, right?
I believe so.
You got to come in here, testify truthfully, or you could find yourself prosecuted for all those things.
I believe so.
And so you gave them a statement on November 2nd, right? And then they told you, you know what? We want to talk to you again. And you talked to them again on November 28th, right?
Yes.
Because they wanted to clarify some things, right?
Yes.
They wanted to clarify the timing of when the knife was exchanged, right?
I believe so.
And they wanted to clarify why your phone had been reset on October 1st, 2022, before you spoke to them, right? Factory reset, right?
No. I had water damage in the phone, and I got a new phone, and I think the iCloud messed up. I was syncing between my mother's and mine. Our texts are kind of merged. Nothing was deleted, but they couldn't find the group chat. I removed myself from the group chat after the event happened.
So by the time you went and talked to the officers after you'd gotten your immunity agreement in place, your phone had been reset.
It wasn't reset.
It was a new phone altogether?
I got a new phone, but everything was still on it and intact.
That's what they told you? We want to come in and clarify why your phone is everything and intact?
I didn't respond. I didn't respond to anybody texting me for the first month, 3 weeks to a month after everything happened. But people were texting me, so they assumed, I think, that I was removing messages that I was sending back when I just wasn't responding. So I think they wanted to have me come in and just explain why there weren't any texts on my end. I was advised not to text people.
So, sir, you're coming in here and you're telling us, or trying to tell us, as close to what you told those officers, right?
Yes.
Because you fear if you change any of that, the state's going to think you're not testifying truthfully, right?
There wouldn't be any need to change it. It's all been the truth.
And you're telling us that the knife that you gave to Mr. Valle, right?
After he asked for it, yes.
That was your knife, right?
My knife.
That you kept in the vehicle, right? That you drove these folks back down to this party, right?
Yeah, Tyler and Lito.
Tyler and Lito, right? After you gave them this knife, right?
After I handed it to Lito, yeah.
And now you're telling us that the knife was thrown by Mr. Valle.
Yeah.
That's why we can't find the knife, right?
I would assume so.
So they didn't find a knife.
Sir, it's not that you needed to get rid of that knife because, again, for 6 months, you didn't want to talk to anybody about this, right?
No?
Yeah, they never found the knife.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Jack, counsel just asked you a little bit about the group chat.
Did he call him jack off? I heard him
Now you're
say
making me-
jack off.
Maybe. He is a jack off, so.
Yeah. He is a jack off.
You indicated on cross-examination that you removed yourself from the group chat. Why did you do that?
I wanted to disassociate myself from everything that happened on that day.
So once you understood the severity of what happened, you got out of the group chat. So what happens when you remove yourself from the group chat on your phone? What happens?
I think it deletes it off my device, but I think, and it says something in other people's phones, like I've left the group chat.
Left the group chat. So in other words, if you wanted to go back into the group chat, you couldn't do it.
I couldn't unless I was added back into it.
Is that something that is saved on the cloud for some reason or no? Do you know?
I think it would be.
It would be, okay. And with regards to, tell me the circumstances surrounding you getting a new phone. Why did you get a new phone?
I think I'd gone to Block Island, or I'd gone somewhere for like just get away, I think, and I'd walked in the water where they got water damage. It was fine, but the battery was draining, so I just brought it to Apple. It said it can repair it. It was water damage, so I needed to get a new phone.
And when you got a new phone, did the contents of your old phone, was it saved in the cloud? And
Yeah, there was like a SIM card, and I just used the same one. I got a new phone. I got 2 new phones. One from my father's coworker right after everything happened because they had taken my phone, the state. So when the state took my phone, I needed a phone, and I couldn't just buy a new one. So I had my dad's friend lend me her phone. So syncing with that phone, I have contacts on my phone right now from her phone still, my mom's phone, on my phone still. So I think
You walked into the water with your iPhone. I know it's waterproof, but who does that? At least if you're going to, when we were going to Dollywood, because they have like 1 or 2 water rides. The White Rabbit gave us some Ziploc bags so we could put our phones in it, because even mine is splash resistant. But why take the chance? I just walked into it and it was fine, but the battery drained.
Mm-hmm.
And what's Black Island? It sounds like probably some fancy place to go on vacay. Yeah, well, if you crack it open, it's probably not that waterproof anymore. Didn't you just get a new phone because the last one kept blocking everyone? Jamie, sometimes I think Brandon forgets that he used to blame the Beagle for destroying his phone, and now it's himself dropping it.
Yeah. And I don't think it's the phone's problem. I think it's a Brandon problem.
He said Black Island. But again, Jamie and I are colorblind. We don't see colors.
No. I don't know what colors are.
it's kind of it was like air filled, I guess. But I got a new phone eventually after the water damage.
so the phone that you had on the night of May 14, 2022, that was seized by the state of Connecticut. Or
I
Shelton.
hate it when,
Right.
especially if the screen gets a little pressure, it'll F it up.
And with regards to, we were asked a little bit about going over to 43 Laurel Glen. When you were driving over there, you told people, or at least the discussion in the car was apparent that you were going there to fight. And what was your understanding about going there to fight? Did you think you were going to fight a couple kids?
Yeah.
It was going to be like a 3-on-3 fight.
That's what I assumed it was.
Right. Now the fight back at Lazy Brook, that was 3-on-1, right? That was you, Lito, the defendant, and Tyler on Ryan Hines, right? Yeah. Right. So that wasn't really a fair fight. But you think you were going to go to 43 Laurel Glen to kind of hash it out and have a fist fight? Right. Were you going there to going to 43 Laurel Glen to use any weapons in fight, or was it going to be a fist fight?
Fist fight.
And was the defendant in agreement to go there and fight?
Yeah.
And when you got there, you said that people came out of the house and surrounded the car, and then you guys eventually got scared, right? And you left and you went down the street, right? And people who didn't want to be involved got out of the car, right?
Yeah, I think everyone got out of the car.
But at some point, when you were down the street, do you know whether or not people from the Shelton crew came down to talk to or confront anybody down the street?
He did.
They did, right?
No.
And was the defendant out of the car at that point?
Yeah,
And was Tyler out of the car at that point?
he was.
And was there any physical altercation down the street at that point when people were out of the car?
I believe so.
What kind of things were going on? Were people arguing?
I don't remember any arguing at all, any fighting at all.
But at that point, at some point in time, those individuals left. Do you recall them leaving? What do you recall about down the street?
Coming back down the street, and then getting out of the car, and then looking at the damage after I driven down the street.
And do you recall where the Shelton kids were at that moment in time or no?
I forgot where they were.
Okay. But there was no physical altercation that took place down near the corner of Laurel Glen and Farmhouse Road. Nobody complaining about we just got beat up, right? Nobody complaining about we just got beat up, right? No one said we got beat up. No physical altercation. Did you observe anything?
Hey, all Mo Raiders, and welcome to this horrible case. If you like the law, Valle, you probably will hate this one because everyone is telling a different story. Everyone is a teenager who had 2 beers. This guy has full immunity from the state to put all the blame on the defendant, even though he started the entire night of trouble.
And you indicated that when the defendant asked for the knife, he was more aggressive, more angry with his demeanor. What do you mean by that?
He was just, you could tell he was angry.
Was he mad, pissed off?
Yeah.
Where do you, before you gave him the knife, do you know where it was before you gave it to him?
I think when I got out of the car initially to look at the damage, I just put it down on not the center console, but the area right in between it, the radio.
Showing you state 32. So you're talking about this area here?
Yeah.
So it would have been just below the radio area.
Yeah, that's a whole platform right there. So anywhere right there.
By the way, while we're looking at state 32, in order to drive your car, put it into drive reverse. Is that up here on the
Yeah,
column?
yeah.
Okay, so this is one of those cars where it has the lower. It's up on the column.
It's a lower. That's also a compartment, but it's also a platform.
But in other words, if you have to drive this car forward or backwards, the gear shifter is on the column.
Yep.
Now, when you indicated that after you got out of the car, you assessed the damage, the defendant asks for the knife. There's this conversation, and you agree to go back down to 43 Laurel Glen.
Yes.
You could have left Laurel Glen at that point, right? You could have driven the other way. Could you have?
I thought it was a dead end.
Could you have put maybe Tyler's address into your phone and followed Waze or Google Maps and driven out of the area? But you didn't do that. And when you went back down to 43 Laurel Glen, you indicated there was a lot of people in the front yard.
Yeah.
Counsel asked you on cross-examination about people swarming everybody, and you indicated that, yeah, look, 30 people were involved. Are you certain that 30 people were fighting during the fight?
No, it just appeared like a lot of people. I asked probably 30 people there.
So you're not sure, not everybody was fighting.
So, but
Were there a lot of people watching?
I couldn't really tell who's fighting, who wasn't, but it was pretty chaotic.
So when counsel asked you about, 30 people were fighting your friends, you can't really tell for sure who was fighting. You just know there was a lot of people and it was chaotic.
Right. I don't know who individually was fighting, but I knew that there was a lot of people there. Yeah.
So when he indicated that it could have been, 15 kids on each person, it could also have been 2 or 3 kids on your friends. You just couldn't say, right?
No, I saw more than 2 or 3.
All right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all 30.
No, I don't think so.
Now, when you get down to the Adams Drive and the defendant throws the knife, he doesn't say, let's get out of here, let's go.
That's possible, but I don't remember the conversation. So,
Now, with regards to your immunity agreement that the defense counsel brings up, did the state of Connecticut approach you about your testimony in this case?
I believe so. I think my attorney did.
Your attorney approached us
Yeah.
because you had information for us.
Yep.
And with regards to your exposure in the case, was it explained to you that you could be paroled on certain crimes if you were convicted because of your age?
I believe so.
Honda Pilot.
And why did you? What's wrong?
No, I'm communicating with Mo.
In your
Trying to
understanding,
convince her to get Grant Smith Ellis on to talk about how the drug cartels work with Big Pharma, the Iranian government, the Egyptian government, the FBI, the DOJ, to place people on Karen Reed's jury. I believe that
Yeah.
would be a hit show that only Mo could conduct. Just to see her with smoke out his ears while Grant is sitting there talking about dark gods influencing people and Alan Jackson being a Masonic priest because he does hand signals. I always wish the best for my friends.
Oh boy.
about your agreement is what?
My understanding of the agreement.
Of the agreement with the state of Connecticut is what?
So, I gave it.
Paula B, that's actually one of the things that I always try to remind people, because if you go to court TV, everyone is, well, they wouldn't have charged them if they weren't guilty. You have to be hating the state, and they must convince you. It's not enough that they say, yeah, it's probably this guy. They must convince you.
Detailed detailed, I guess, explanation on what happened. The truth on what happened, and that I wouldn't be prosecuted for it.
And is that explanation from your perspective about what you remember happened on May 14th of 20?
Doesn't it mean that your ass gets skinless? You wear the skin of your butt.
What are you
So
talking
it's-
about? Yeah.
James Bond from Texas talks about chapped ass. Isn't it like when you have like a chapstick for your lips because they get irritated? I think so.
2022.
Oh, yeah, like chapped skin,
Yeah,
chapped lips.
yeah.
I just heard you say butt skin. I'm like,
No further questions.
Any additional comments?
Just briefly.
You were just asked, the state
I
didn't
think this
approach
will be
you
the
about
last one.
this prosecution agreement.
Maybe
right?
the chick.
Your attorney, I guess, approached them and said, hey, can we get a prosecution agreement here?
I believe so. I think my attorney went to the state.
State's attorney didn't come to you and say, nope, sorry, son, we got to arrest you. We're not giving you an immunity agreement, right?
Objection is what the state's attorney said.
State's attorney didn't say, no, we're not good. The state's attorney didn't refuse to give you this immunity agreement, did they?
I don't believe so.
No, you signed it, right? In this courthouse, right? Nothing further.
Anything else?
Nothing.
You may step out of your response.
Thank you, Kiki
All right,
K.
ladies and gentlemen, adjourned yesterday. I indicated that it would be a half day today, so we are prepared to adjourn. I'm just going to once again remind you to abide by the rule of of conduct that I have described to you again at the beginning of the trial, and as we've been going through the trial, just highlighting, please try to stay away from media. Also, no conversation with anyone, including each other, about the state's no visiting the scenes that have been discussed or any of the locations that have been discussed, and they're conducting independent research or investigation outside of the evidence presented here in the courtroom. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will be back again for this.
we're done.
Thank you.
So the state didn't rest, but we're taking the day off for the rest of the day. What the hell's going on in this case?
no.
Anyway, remember, I am one of the few people who dual stream to Rumble, because Rumble is such a hellhole to dual stream too. But still, we very much appreciate all 15 people over on the Rumble. Day drinking, baby, bring it on. Well, for me, it will be evening drinking because it just turned 6 o'clock. Are they coming back? And no, maybe. Just gonna keep an eye on it if they. No, they ended it 4 minutes ago. They're not coming back. They're not gonna. I thought the state would rest. Yesterday, we heard a bailiff said they have 2 witnesses at a max, and we have had 4 witnesses since then. Jamie,
Yes, Baker.
You know how I feel about these immunity deals that the state hands out to people.
Me too.
I'm not a fan.
But tell me. No.
Well, you know, because we have talked about it over and over and over again,
No.
that I don't
Those
like them
people.
because I feel you give people an incentive to lie just to get out of prison. I don't have anything to prove that he lied. But I just don't like that the state will say, hey, we'll keep your nose clean if you're testifying against this guy. To me, that seems like it just seems dirty to me.
Well, especially in this instance, I mean, good God, they were like, hey, kid, we're going to charge you with, you're going to be accessory to murder and all these things. You
Yeah.
better tell the truth. You know, I mean, it just, people tend to say the things you want them to say so they can keep their little nose clean.
Yeah, especially if you say, you know, you're an excessive to murder, you can get 60 years in prison, but you could
Yeah.
sign a plea deal.
But you could testify for us, you know. Yeah. I don't like plea deals.
Don't like plea deals. I don't like lesser included. I don't like immunity
lesser included.
agreements.
That's what I was thinking of. I was like, what's the other one I hate? I hate lesser
Yeah.
included.
Yeah, because it's just a cope out. We had a trial today where there were certain statements made, and it's our job to find him guilty or not guilty, or her guilty or not guilty in those statements. So the prosecutor must prove that they said, I'm gonna spank you with a wet Danish. And if they can't get it out of it, they're just saying, well, they said something about spanking. We can't find you guilty. And you have to prove the charges. It's not just enough to say, well, he did said something about spanking. No, it's with a wet Danish. It's not, and you should never do that. The wet Danish is a deadly tool. But we have, as I've said a lot during the Can Read, if you go in there, you have the charges, and you can say, okay, did they prove that this kid got out of the car? Red Rum needs intent, and he wanted to unalive these kids. And then you'll have the implicit intent, you'll have the where you plan it, and that you should know that that action would lead to it kind of intent. But I'm starting to feel this kid is a bit overcharged. I could go with manslaughter. I actually think I would go so far to find him guilty of manslaughter in my world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like you said this earlier to somebody that you know people are going in now looking at the state and really wanting them to prove their case, but you also have to like not only that, but like the charges, because a lot of times they come in with these heavy charges, and you listen to this evidence in this case, and you're like, murder, you know, like first degree murder, like that's crazy, and I
Yeah.
believe that too. I think it's a lot less than that.
It's like the states are overcharging a lot because they know they can always just get a lesser included thrown in there. With capital crimes like this, they should prove the F. Again, if it's assault or aggravated assault, I can live. You say, okay, we're charging him with aggravated assault, but it could be borderline assault. So you can find a lesser included because that's not 50 years difference.
Yeah.
Brandon, I'm not following my own rule. When this much shite is flying through the air, just get down and don't move. 24-ounce curls being the only exceptions. 24-ounce, that's beer, right? And Celestial Force liked clapping cheeks. 2 super chats in a row, and Brandon was the least sexual. I'm just saying,
Wow.
Celestial Force is up here trying to
Coming in hot.
dethrone Brandon.
Mhm.
No, it was not an encouragement to find something even worse to say, Brandon.
Yeah, please don't.
It was just an observation. Thank you, Celestial Force. I had a poll once in my life. I should end my poll while the stream is still running instead of, oh, yeah, I had that up. What do you think the verdict will be? Not yours, but the jury. Guilty and lesser, 50%. Red rum, 33%. Interesting. Hung, 8%. Not guilty, 6%. Interesting that pure red rum is 33%. I thought, yeah, well, interesting. If I was a juror in this trial, I wouldn't be able to decide, so would have to vote not guilty. Yeah, but I think if and when that happened and you're sitting in the jury box, even though, of course, you wouldn't, a lot of people would sit there and say, yeah, okay, we're going to land on a lesser included then, because who wants to sit here for 5 days talking?
Mhm.
I thought plea deals with immunity meant no jail time. What do I know, though? It depends on what. If you make a plea deal, you are admitting guilt. This kid made an immunity agreement, which said, I will come testify truthfully about anything, and I will not be charged with anything. So he's not admitting to guilt because no charges will ever be brought against him. Plea deals are normally, it depends on what your crime is, but in a case like this, it's okay, we're going to bump your murder down to a lesser included and give you 40 years in prison. That's what they gave this kid 40 years in prison as an option. They did the same with Karen Reed. They said, we are going to offer you a plea deal on manslaughter. She said, no, thank you. And then they charged her with second degree. And then they offered her a plea deal again because they wanted to force her to accept a plea deal, which I think is even more BS.
Oh yeah.
For
That's why overcharging is such a thing, and you have to really pay attention to what they are charging somebody with versus what evidence they have. Because what they did to Karen Reed is a prime example. It's like, oh, you're not going to take our little plea deal? Okay, well, we're going to up this to second degree, and it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and MG, again, if it's okay, we are looking at aggravated assault or assault. I can live with that being at the hands of the jury. That they can
Is present.
they can have a okay, we're going to downcharge this, but we still think he assaulted him. But capital crimes like this, to me, that's it just gives them an opportunity to get revenge. And I think a lot of juries has that mentality that we need to get revenge on behalf of the kid who's not here anymore. Sing it.
Yeah, I agree big time. Like, that's why I hate lesser included. Like, if you're going to charge somebody with the first degree charge, then you better be able to prove it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to
You
be like,
don't
well,
need
let's
us.
throw in some other ones in there just in case.
And again, we are sitting here on day 6, and I couldn't tell you where the car was, who was there, or who got out of the car, because it's been a mess of a trial.
And this knife, like, I don't know who actually, I mean, the kid said he had it, but
Yeah.
I don't know, nobody saw anything. And then we have like one person saying
He
was
saw it 5
asking
minutes
for
before,
it.
but that's before he got the knife.
Yeah.
This last witness has ruined like 60% of the other witnesses' explanations.
Yeah.
And he's the only kid who is telling the story that the state wants because his freedom depends on it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's really ridiculous. Yes, please consider tonight, come watching me at 7 p.m. Eastern, where I will be guesting Lacey Jane's channel. we will be talking about whatever pops up into our mind. We'll probably talk a bit about the Karen Reed stuff. And she asked me if I wanted questions beforehand so I can prep. And I said, Daddy, do no homework.
Daddy, do no homework. He doesn't.
No,
Guys.
I'll just make stuff up along the way. So it's gonna be a little relaxed, laid back show. I am happy that we ended early because it's 1 a.m. my time, so I can get a couple of hours nap before I have to go live. But I would really enjoy if some of you would join us and watch the show because it's a newer, smaller channel, and it's always nice when us big boys gets to throw our weight around and help smaller channels get some views. So come check it out. Maybe it's a place you like to hit the little likey poo button. So consider it. 7 p.m. tonight. This is the link that you can follow. Wanted to say I love They Lost Their Mind series. Thank you, Carla. It's I like doing it because there's so many stupid takes out there. The one today kicking Kathy Daffy off her moral high horse was a personal favorite of mine because going in and claiming your morality is higher than anyone else's and everyone should do better while hosting streams with Plevin, who has told people to self-delete, who claims people was dropped on their heads as kids, while sitting with Krusty Panties, who called a black guy Uncle Tom because she didn't like his opinion, and then made an AI excuse for using racist words, while sitting with John DePetro as late as yesterday, claiming that Karen Reed paid off, well, alluding that Karen Reed paid off the jury. John DePetro made a fake Southern American accent to make fun of a Brazilian. But they don't know that in Brazil they speak Portuguese, not Spanish. While hanging out with Brody, whatever the name is, who said, I think it was him who said when the verdict was read, poetic justice would be Karen Reed being hit by a car right now. And Kathy Daffy herself saying Karen Reed should move to Iran, which is, well, there's a peace deal now, but at that time was a war zone. I am not a good person. I'm not a moral person. I am an asshole. And I don't mind people saying that because I am. I have certain standards I'll live by, but online I'll call everyone all the things that makes people angry because I find it funny. And they can call me a fat loser as well because sticks and stones may break my bones, but I'm too fat so it can never get in there. But don't go out and use another streamer's self-deletion to try and claim that you are morally superior. Please go check out my They Lost Their Mind series. Advice for virgins. Just wait, you're all spring chickens in here. What you need is to build up a little suasion. Hey, Jamie, what do the TV repairman and a billionaire have in common? Do you know, Jamie? I don't. Do you know what a TV repairman and a billionaire have in common?
What do they have in common?
Just a massive fat amount of. What do you think that's a massive amount of, Jamie?
A chicken?
Why would a TV repairman have a fat amount of chicken? Jamie, how do you... I know you are in Wisconsin and everything, but TVs don't run off of chickens. Which in Wisconsin, it would be running off of cheese. But still, it doesn't make sense. Oh, by the way, Jamie, you're always saying, hey, Baker, have you tried the new KFC stuff? Because it's really good. And I'm saying, no. We had 11 KFCs in Denmark. Until yesterday, everyone closed because they were cheating with the date on the product, so they were selling old chicken.
No.
Yeah, that's
Oh
oh
boy.
MG
Poor
MG MG.
KFC.
Yeah, and I've been to KFC twice in my life, and it's the worst food I've ever had in my life. Well, that's not true. I've had cheesecake.
Oh my
Two types of
God.
individuals women like. I still don't get the joke. I don't know. Maybe he just fixed the cable. What cable? Brandon, you're losing me. I think my graphic card is about to
Is this
die.
some like corn thing?
You need to watch the
You
Hot Crazy
repairman?
Matrix.
Oh.
Oh, brown chicken, brown cow. Brandon coming in with 80% Swaysher. You still don't have KFC in Norway. You are not missing out. KFC is probably the worst product I've ever had. Normally, I don't eat poultry because I've had salmonella poisoning. But I went to Saxby's and I went to Chick-fil-A. Both places are good because, again, it's been in the wishing well. Every bacteria in that is dead. But I like Saxby's a lot. I like the Saxby sauce. Chick-fil-A is okay. I would rather have Saxby's. But KFC is horrible. And the restaurants are always nasty.
I don't know. I mean, I've never had a problem with KFC. I'm sure there's much better out there. I haven't had KFC in a million years, but I always liked it. Maybe their sides. I like their sides and biscuits.
Someone draw the money attractiveness matrix. Everything over 7 figures, you're hot. Have I had MREs? Does a bear shit in the woods? Is the Pope Catholic? No, he's actually not. Does the Pope wear a funny hat? Of course I've had MREs. MREs, that's what you get when you're a soldier, and you will get in Denmark, back when I was a soldier, you'll get like 2 little cardboard boxes with you had like your day ration and then you had your night ration. And I can't remember how many. It's like 3,000 calories or something in it, and most of it is almost unedible. But Americans have these. We always swapped them because we thought they were exotic, and they wanted our tinned food. We wanted their self-heating packs. It's really bad. But when you're young, you want to try it.
Yeah.
In Southeast Asia, they ate KFC off real plates and what now? Totally mind blown. Isn't KFC Christmas dinner in Japan? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Money G. Thank you. Yeah. I remember that, but it looks Burger King and KFC, well, not KFC anymore because, again, until they have new management, everyone is closed. But I have never been to a clean KFC or Burger King in Denmark. Never, ever. And it doesn't matter what time of day. It's not just because, hey, you eat junk food when you're drunk. It doesn't matter if you go there. When I drive up to the kids and I might have gotten a little late out of bed, I'll stop and grab a coffee and a cheeseburger somewhere along the way. Mm-hmm. And I go to McDonald's because Burger Kings are always nasty. Don't like it. Don't like it. Our KFC was always good in Ohio.
Yeah. I haven't had a problem with the ones out here, but I mean, everywhere is different. I've heard some crazy stories about other ones, so yeah.
But it also depends on who is the franchisee or if it's a chain owned restaurant. Yeah. We have a McDonald's in my town. The Burger King lasted maybe 3 months, then it closed again, and they haven't tried since then. But the McDonald's is really good because he's really, really focused on that. It must be clean, it must be welcoming. Even when he goes at football matches, if someone have brought a bag of McDonald's, he will go and remove wrappings and stuff like that. He is very, very concerned about a public image. So
Yeah.
our McDonald's is really good. Well, McDonald's is shit food, but you need it sometimes. But his restaurant is really good.
Yeah.
I'm just sad because we don't have that big of a menu anymore on McDonald's. Not saying food on an aircraft carrier is bad, but would trade civilian coffee with the Marines for MREs. I heard that in Denmark, the Navy, that's why I was almost put in the subs, because if a chef or a baker goes into back, then we had to do our, well, that's been reinstated now again, but we had to do like, we had to do the draft, and if you lost in the draft lottery and you went in for 9 months, if you were a chef or a baker, they would try to get you to the Marine and then, or to the Navy, as we call it the Marine. But they'll get you to the Navy so you can go and sail on the ships, because good food is necessary to get a good spirit if you are stuck out at sea. Remember, we sail patrols at Greenland where people are away for a long time. So a lot of bakers actually used to go up and be stationed at the naval base in Greenland. But then because it's the Navy and we had some hazing rituals, I couldn't go there because they're treating the draftees too badly. But luckily, I got to play music in the Navy, where we had the second worst hazing in the Danish military. And I didn't puke once. You should watch the poop cruise for movie night. I will put that in the recommendations. I am not there for movie nights, but Jamie, you are co-hosting the movie nights. Can you pick
Okay,
out poop
first of
cruise for
all,
Brandon?
no. Brandon, no. You have your own. Sounds
good.
terrible.
Never had Chipotle. Only had what's the
Need
name?
to know about better.
I only had Taco Bell once, and I wasn't. Their devilish hot sauce wasn't that bad. But Jamie, I'm gonna go make myself some dinner, get some sleep, and I will be at Lazy tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I hope all y'all, that Southern means all of you, will be joining me over there and helping a new little channel grow. Because small things needs to grow.
Yes.
Is what she told me.
What exhibit are you referring to? I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor. All right. 100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All
right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't have cared.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
So there.
Everybody